It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Georgia Dow joins Clayton Morris and Doctor to talk about all of Google's announcements at Google I/O. The conservatives go to Facebook, and Apple opens the Genius Grove. It's all coming up next on Twit.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Twit, This Week in Tech, episode 563, recorded Sunday, May 22nd, 2016. Is that an echo in your pants? This Week in Tech is brought to you by Stamps.com. Here's an easy way for you to save time for your business. Avoid trips to the post office and use Stamps.com to get postage right from your desk. For my special offer, go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone, and enter Twit. And by GoToMeeting. Be a meeting MVP. GoToMeeting is the online meeting tool that lets you easily collaborate and present from anywhere with one click, so you always put on your best performance. Step up your meeting game and start your free 30-day trial at GoToMeeting.com today. And by Gazelle, the online marketplace for buying and selling used gadgets. Shop from a variety of certified pre-owned electronics or trade one in for cash. Give new life to a used device at Gazelle.com today. And by Audible.com. Sign up for the Platinum Plan and get 2 free books. Go to Audible.com/Twit2. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech, the show where we cover the week's tech news. There was a lot of news, but I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more fun on this show because we've got our, we have our fun team on today. Owen.
Team Fun.
Team Fun. Team Fun Assemble. That's Clayton Morris from, they're my good friend, Fox and Friends, Clayton Morris. At Clayton Morris. Are you at the lake?
No, we just moved.
Oh, you have a new house?
We just moved up over the hill in Morris County, New Jersey.
Oh, nice.
Had to move to a county after my own last name. You get tax breaks. So
that's like the Lucas Ranches on Lucas Valley Road.
Right.
And you're in Morris County.
Morris County, New Jersey, just outside of Manhattan.
Nice. I love Morris County, actually. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
That's why they named it the Garden State. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much. The whole musical Hamilton is like
everything's legal in Jersey. That's right.
That's right.
Are you near where Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton had their famous duel?
Oh, of course. So I was a history major in college, so I'm fascinated by this. So the heights of Weehawken, right outside of Manhattan, is where the famous duel happened. Right by the Lincoln Tunnel. You go through. Yeah.
Oh,
and right down the street down here is Washington's headquarters, the winter headquarters, where he and Alexander Hamilton were hanging out, where the Schuyler sisters came down, and Hamilton was like cavorting around the camp, with many, many ladies on a regular basis during the winter quartering in Morristown. So there's a lot of history over here.
Martha Washington named her Tomcat after him. It's true. Hey, that's Owen J.J. Stone. Doctor is with us in the house today.
I would liken us more to the mystery van as opposed to the A-Team van.
The one you shouldn't take candy from, that van?
Yeah, I wouldn't trust me as far as I could throw me, and I'm kind of big, so you're not tossing me that far. But I'm just saying, we got another Twit. Get ready to be in a can.
You're always fun. We love having Owen J.J. Stone on. And you're looking mighty fine today. You're using a 70D. What are you using?
70. I lost like 8 pounds too late. I know that helps a lot. The camera adds 10, so I had to drop 8.
You're only up 2.
Negative net 2. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do what I can do. Jack kept asking. So I am using my 70D.
Looks good.
And I had to put Boot Camp on my Mac because the software that I'm running is called Sparko Cam to run that through my Skype.
Looks good.
That's what I'm doing right now with that 50 millimeter lens.
If the camera adds 20 pounds, Clayton must weigh 80 pounds.
Oh, man, I've let myself go lately. Here's a little secret in broadcasting. Yeah. I had to pop off. No, I was at, 175 is like my fighting weight. I'm like at 193 right now. And
now it begins, Clayton.
It's all downhill. And the other day on the show, I was like, oh my God, my neck has gotten out of control. I had to undo the button and then just use the tie to tie it. and so the buttons were open because the neck is just getting out of control.
Oh, Owen and I know that story pretty well.
I call that the choke back. You gotta tuck it in. You gotta fold it down when you when you get there, you're just like.
Yeah, wait till you're doing that with your pants. That's when you really know. The belts
just wear
holding it all.
elasticated pants.
There's Georgia Dow. Hey,
Hello.
Georgia. You are looking great as always, but you're in a white room now. Did you borrow Johnny Ives?
I borrowed it from Johnny Ives. It's
Yeah.
the opening of the new Mac store. That's where I am right now.
Just say, it's the thinnest, lightest eyemore I've ever made.
See,
Yeah, it's perfect.
it's perfect. No, we've moved. We're still waiting for our Vive, which we'll talk about later because that's traumatic.
Wait a minute. You moved so that you could put the... That's right. You told us you were going to do that. Your husband...
He did. He did that. He didn't ask me. Suddenly
stole
we
your
started
studio?
podcasting. Yes, he stole my studio.
For the Vive?
For the Vive.
That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. So we moved the movie room to the opposite section with all the movie room. We have movie room chairs as well where you can put your drink holder and everything. Recliners, like true movie room seats. He moved all of those, moved my podcasting room. So I have no lights up right now. So
Actually, it looks
I'm totally
great.
jealous.
You look...
Totally jealous.
All three of you
so,
look
yeah, we have
fabulous.
Vive room now.
Georgia may or may not have been committed. I'm sure the depth of field is coating up
Wait,
that
are these
padded
patents?
room. Now, all of a sudden, he moved her out of that room into the
Wait,
other
tell
room. And I'm thinking, why not move it to the other room to set the Vive up that doesn't have any of the setup? I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. If you need help, blink
space.
twice.
You need
If
like
you need help,
you need
blink
like 8
twice.
feet by 8 feet for the Vive, so you can move around.
Yes, blink. I will. Yes, we will send out the team. The mystery van is afoot.
So I
Are you
was.
saying
tell
you
her we're
might
not
not
actually
really
doing
be
a
on
podcast.
Twit. This might be
No.
all just
The
It's in
Matrix.
your head right
This
now.
is part of your. This is part of your rehabilitation.
If this is
You
your
are
dream,
all
that's a
gonna see
nightmare,
me.
and you should wake up immediately.
So
it's a great dinner. I can't wait.
don't tell your husband this, but I got to play with the PlayStation VR on Monday. In fact, it's triangulation, so you can see it. We interviewed the Rick Marks, who's the guy in charge. He's been there for a long time, and it's awesome. But it's one of those. Oculus is a little bit like this too, where you don't move around a lot. In fact, the game that I got to play, you sit in a chair, and so you don't need a lot of space. But I have to say that's going to be the one to beat. I think the one to watch anyway, because it's going to have 50 games by the end of the year. It was really fun.
I watched you playing
Did you see it? Yeah.
I did. I did it when my husband wasn't watching because
Good
he's
idea.
been dying for the VR.
Because once you buy the Vive, you're $800 in the hole plus a PC.
We'll get the play. We'll get it all. We really will. I love that.
I don't know. I like
Wait a minute,
Yule
look
Gibbons.
Like you look like the guy that came over to our table the other day to blow up toy balloons for our kids.
That is so dorky. I can't believe. Is that what it looked like?
That's what it looked like.
ice cream
Wait
in
till
all
you
the wrong
start
places.
shooting.
Oh, I'm so
What kind of ice
sorry.
cream you want?
Would you like
Wait a
vanilla
minute,
ice cream?
was watching-
Inflatable penguin?
Oh, that's horrible.
Was watching Leo start shooting because
Why didn't any of you tell me?
it was adorable.
I look like
So they're still using
Wait.
the
the
PlayStation
Move.
Move balls?
Yeah. And the
is
camera.
yeah.
So the idea is that you're going to have the same hardware you probably already have. They do have a kit for $400 that has the camera and the Move, 2 moves, and the visor. But a lot of people
I found
will have it.
the Move to be the most accurate of all of those devices.
It's fun. So this is, by the way, one of the problems with the VR. Don't tell your husband this either, Georgia. Is, as you can see, you look like a moron. Now, I really exacerbate it by wearing suspenders.
I was gonna say we should just make a meme out of that. When your grandpa
tank of
gets
helium.
VR. I was on the motorcycle and we shot the cars. Come in here.
Wait till the guy hits the windshield. It's so cute.
Oh, it's not cute
It
at
was so
all.
cute because
It's
you
so
flew
sad.
back. You flew backwards. You were really worried.
Yeah, I got a gun. I'm loading the gun. Oh, I had no idea. It looked so dorky. In my mind, it looked cool. I was
If I had a
driving
heart
down the
attack,
highway. I had Jason
thought it was
Statham
real.
next to me. I'm shooting my guns.
So somebody's got a heart attack, Uncle Leo.
Do you think we're going to see widespread adoption of this?
Not now.
Right. I think you just killed it.
But isn't that the case? Remember Palmer Luckey on the cover of Time magazine? The same thing. You don't look good doing these things. I guess we'll get used to it.
The only
Well, in
time it
other
looks cool is
implementations-
those amusement park settings I've seen where they have like the foam board set up and you kind of like walk through like you're doing stuff. I haven't yet seen one of those situations where they look stupid because they actually are moving through physical things and they're touching walls. sitting on benches, like it's there. When you're just sitting there floating in the middle of space, or sitting in a chair, you look like a doofus no matter what you do.
Well, I think it's because of the controllers look a little bit more comical than cool as well. They look like, little balloon toys or something that you're trying to shoot things with. So I think that with controllers that look a little bit less multicolored, popsicle-looking things.
Clayton, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say this week, I was excited, but New York Times just rolled out their VR app. And one of the cool things they did was they added the visual walkthrough of Pluto. They're talking about,
cool.
The aircraft, took 10 years to get there. And they built this 9-minute visual VR walkthrough in their new New York Times VR app. So it's a standalone app. You can download it. It asks whether or not you've got Google Cardboard, so you can watch it just as a video, or you can order Google Cardboard and do it there and plop it right into the cardboard mask, and then do the visual walkthrough. Neat. And so I don't have the cardboard yet. I just ordered it. I think I lost my other set of it. So my son was excited. So we launched it today, and he was just doing the video and holding it up and walking around doing the visual tour of Pluto for the first time.
See, Miles, how old is Miles? He's like 5, 4 or 5?
5, yeah. He'll be 6.
So that's, to me, what's most interesting. This is a generation that's going to grow up with this. This is just going to be commonplace for them.
Right. Yeah, and for him, that was the first time he'd ever seen anything like that. I mean, using the accelerometer and using...
What was his reaction?
He thought it was amazing. I mean, he loves Star Walk Kids.
Right.
So at night, being able to go outside and hold up the phone and see, he recognizes certain planets, to be able to get that overlay. So, just having that overlay over the actual sky and be able to see that was pretty cool. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not this has widespread adoption, though.
Nobody looks good playing video games. You look like a slack-jawed beast. I mean, you just go, That's why I never thought Twitch or anything like that would do well. Or, esports, because people, it's not, you're watching sports, but the people who look like they haven't been out much.
First of all, you can see Mars from With the Naked Eye tonight, so just use the real world.
Not as good.
Drop the VR.
Not
the VR,
as
look
good.
Up at the sky when it gets dark and look for a red dot. That's Mars.
That's
cool.
it. It's just a red dot.
Feel like you're part of the universe instead of in a box. And secondly, I am very athletic. When I'm using my controller and I'm yelling at the screen.
I bet you look like Star Wars kid.
Man, you have no idea. Look, the best thing about watching, it's funny when you talk about that, because people get so into it and you see people throwing their controllers and they get so angry.
Yeah.
They're so tense depending on the game that they're in, like a fighting game or a sports game. You can just see the weight of the world in their body language. It's amusing.
Well, that's what's interesting about VR is that, and Georgia, you probably can explain this, but it doesn't take a lot of cues. Obviously VR is not super realistic. You're not feeling anything. You're not smelling anything. You have sight and sound is about it. And yet, even with the barest of cues, your mind takes over and immerses you in it to the point where it is hard. If you've done a lot of VR, when you take off the visor, it's extraordinarily disorienting to enter the real world again.
Yeah, our brains are made to be exceptionally visual. We spend most of our brain power on visual cues, over scent, even over touch. And so because of the immersive experience of being able to see something that's all the way around you, our brain really believes that. And some of the coolest applications are now not just dealing with, as we spoke of before, about a spider phobia and dealing with that through virtual reality, but also we can go through social anxiety and dealing with paranoia through a virtual experience. And so there's some new applications coming out to help people deal with, being able to do an interview by making it much closer to real life without having to have it just being you and the same therapist, because that's not very effective. And so I think that immersion to it really does work. And we've even done studies with people with phantom limb syndrome where they have a missing arm that has pain, has neurological pain, even though the arm's been cut off, that it really hurts or it feels like your hand is in a fist. They don't have that hand, but they've been using mirror. So they put a mirror in between. So you see the mirror image of your other hand releasing from that pain and been able to feel neurologically better on the other arm that isn't even there. So it works really, really well.
Wow,
it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a lot better than making balloon animals.
No, nothing's better than making balloon animals. Let's take a break. There's a lot of news this week. We really should get into it. We've got the Google I/O and a considerable number of applications. Actually, I think we're going to have a good philosophical conversation about this because there's two different ways to look at what Google did this week. There's a little bit of Apple news as well, Facebook, security news. It's the usual suspects. And I got a really beautiful thin laptop from HP that I want to show you that has one thing that just frosts me. And I feel like it's a trend in the industry that I think needs to be ended. So we'll talk a little bit about that. This is the new HP Spectre 13T, which is gorgeous and in many respects a brilliant idea, a real competitor to the MacBook, with one exception. But first, let's talk about Stamps.com. I don't want you to go to the post office anymore. Nothing against the post office. It's funny, I have a very fond kind of feeling for the post office. I guess because mail carriers would bring my toys when I was a kid, right? I would wait for the mail carrier to come because I was going to get my Mr. Potato Head that I ordered 8 weeks ago. And by the way, that means a lot of time waiting for the mail carrier. Or, just cool stuff comes in the mail. When you're young, it's not bills, it's cool stuff. However, as you get older, you maybe form different opinions. And one of the last things you want to do is go to the post office and wait in line to buy stamps. Stamps.com doesn't just eliminate that. It eliminates everything you would do at the post office. Stamps.com lets you buy and print real U.S. postage from your desk. No postage meter. No, just your computer or your printer. You don't need anything else. Just a Stamps.com account. They'll send you some great stuff that makes it even better because you can print right on the envelope your company corporate logo. It'll take your return address, the sender's address from your address book for sending out bills and brochures. If you're a seller on eBay or Amazon or Etsy and you're not using Stamps.com, you're really missing the boat. Stamps.com makes your package look more professional. You can print labels for any kind of mailer. It'll even make suggestions like, hey, you should probably send this media mail and save yourself some money. I want you to go to Stamps.com right now. Click on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner and use our offer code TWIT. When you do that, you're going to get a $110 no-risk trial offer. And of course, it includes a month free of Stamps.com, but you get some other stuff too, including a digital USB scale, so you never have to guess at the postage. It knows exactly how much, so you never do too little or too much. You get a $5 supply kit. You get $55 in postage coupons you can use over the first few months of your Stamps.com account. I mean, this is a remarkably good deal. We use the digital scale here. In fact, I think we have a video of Carly plugging it in. It's as simple as it can be. In fact, I think she's going to open the trial offer box so you can see what comes in there. Stamps.com. Again, sign up today. Don't go to the post office. Just go to Stamps.com. Use the promo code TWIT and get a 4-week trial, 110 bonus offer, and everything you see in that box, including that USB scale. Stamps.com. Google I.O. was this week, and I have a demonstrator of one of the things Google announced. The new Google Home, which is actually a Glade air freshener, but it's roughly this size, right? It kind of looks like that, right?
Is that vanilla and cinnamon?
Yeah. How did you know? You have the same one?
I grew up with that same scent in my bedroom.
Oh, God, it's disgusting. Anyway.
It is. I think my mom put it in to cover up nasty sock smell,
There's yeah, right. That's the hint that you're now a teenager, and they put the Glade all over your room, spray you down with Febreze before every day. They announced a number of things, but I think the overarching announcement is interesting. So I want to know what your take is on this. We'll start with you, Clayton, because there's some people who said, oh, yeah, it's all Me Too stuff. Like Amazon has an Echo, so now we have the Google Home. Or Facebook's got Messenger and bots, so now we have Allo. Apple has FaceTime, so now we have Duo. The VR visor looks almost exactly like the Samsung Gear VR and works pretty much the same way. In one respect, you could look at that and say these are all Me Too products and Google's late to the party. The other interpretation is that Google has a secret sauce. Marco Arment wrote this actually on his website, marco.org. Google has this secret sauce that's going to make every one of those devices and programs a leap ahead because they have been doing something none of the other companies have been doing, building their machine learning and artificial intelligence over 10 years, gathering information about us, about how we use it. And so all of these products will be superior to the existing products just because of that alone.
Well, this sort of idea that because the Echo came out last year that Google wasn't already working on something similar to this is ridiculous. I was impressed with the overall keynote. In years past, if you think back to past Google keynotes, it was a mess, like a hodgepodge of things that didn't make sense, things that really seemed out of touch with its users, with consumers. I thought it was pretty focused, and I thought it reflected, the organization, this new Alphabet organization under Pichai's leadership. It's really focused on things that Google's good at. I mean, Google now, and we were just testing before the show, like even just testing sports scores and things, with their speed with which you can return results. The contextual learning, I think, has been far superior than anything out there. Although, obviously seeing what Amazon's been able to do with the Echo. Google had the smart hub.
The Q, or remember that?
Their router, the
OnHub router.
The OnHub. So they've been dancing around this idea of trying to bring everything under one umbrella for a long time. And I think we're seeing a better implementation of that. Overall, I was impressed with the keynote. What about you guys?
Anybody feel like, well, Georgia, what do you think?
I think that they did a great job with the keynote. I thought that it was clean. I think that it was interesting. And yeah, they're way ahead.
She's frozen.
She froze.
See, that's why you shouldn't move your studio.
What's going to be is that...
Sorry.
Yeah.
Say that thought again, because you froze in the middle there.
It's about AlphaGo, how, they're beating people at the game of Go.
The Go playing machine, yeah.
Yeah, which is phenomenal. And so I think that they're really pushing the envelope with AI.
AlphaGo is interesting, though, because remember the week before AlphaGo, Facebook said, oh, yeah, we've got a Go playing machine. It's going to, and then have we heard anything about it since then? Because then AlphaGo beats the world champion, and it's like, oh,
and
never mind.
And then they scrapped the whole project.
Yeah, never mind.
People looking for a new...
Marco Arment wrote on Marco.org, and because Marco is well known, he started at Tumblr. He's written great apps, including Instapaper and his latest podcast app, which is Overcast. He said that this is actually a risky moment for Apple, that Apple might be faced with BlackBerry's fate. BlackBerry was the king of the world until the iPhone came out, but because BlackBerry hadn't been doing the spade work all along over the years to make the leap into smartphones, they just got eclipsed completely by the iPhone. And he said this is the risk right now that Apple, as well as Amazon and Facebook, are facing because of Google kind of investing heavily in big data web services and AI for many years.
Here's the question I have, though. How many people are using AI? How many people are actually using almost every person I'm out to dinner with or drinks, they're always shocked and kind of surprised that I can press a button and get a sports score.
I know.
Does anyone who's a layperson use it?
Even I don't talk to my phone as much as I always think, I should probably have just asked it. Owen, what were you about to say?
First of all, Google is the worst thing in the world. You all are wrong, and blah, blah,
okay,
blah.
that's what I thought. Okay.
No, I'm totally joking, because you just got to be the opposite person. In general, it's amazing to me how people get in that mindset and say, "Oh, Google's Johnny come lately," and I'm like, well, Apple has done this for years. They sit back and let every other phone have all these features for 2 or 3 generations. Then they come in and it's thinner and lighter. And I mean, granted, it actually works when they do it, but they come in 3 years later after they look and see what they've done, learn from the mistakes, and have made a better product. So why doesn't Google get that credit for doing the same thing? And that's what I feel this is. Duo looks friggin' awesome. I was sitting with a buddy who does FaceTime. That's all he does is call people FaceTime, and people never pick up his calls, probably because he's annoying, but also because they can't see the stupid faces that he's making. I'm sure that if he had that, he could make some stupid face that people were more likely to pick up his calls.
So Duo is essentially the same as Skype or FaceTime, with this one exception.
Caveat.
Knock, knock.
Yeah, I think that's neat. I thought it's personable. You can feel something. It evokes a feeling, and it makes you want to answer the call or not answer the call. But it's better than a blank screen that just says FaceTime audio or FaceTime video. And my second point is, as far as automation, what he was saying, kids use it more than adults use it. My daughter and her friends, number one, I yell at them all the time, so I'm asking me dumb questions. So I hear them all the time. Siri was this. Okay, Google was that. Like, they're always, instead of asking us as parents, I hear kids doing it a lot.
Oh, my kids love the Echo. They walk into the room and they can actually interact with it. My 5-year-old, my 3-year-old, she can say, when she's just turned 4, but she can, she can ask the Echo to play, Christmas music or whatever they want. They'll play REM or whatever, and it just instant. And they're just like shocked, and they start dancing around. They have a dance party, and I don't have to be involved.
Okay,
Well,
but
I think
now,
that it's great in that it's going to be so much harder to hang up or not answer the call when you see your friend making cute, sad, pouty faces at you. Why aren't you picking up the phone? So I think that for that, that's the exact reason of FaceTime. I don't know what I'm in for. And so I think that they answered a question that we have perfectly. And I think Owen said it really well, is it makes it much more experiential, and we don't have to worry, what am I going to be in for? And it's much harder to say no to someone directly to their face and not answer it when they're like looking, going like, hi, please answer. I really need you. Come on.
is there going to be a stalker problem, though? I mean, your miserable ex-boyfriend keeps calling you and sends you pics.
Let me get the train back on track.
Sorry.
First of all, we have a block button. Second of all, let's think about the phone calls where I'm sitting there with my flat tire and I'm showing you my flat tire and I'm asking you to come help me.
Please help me.
You
You're
say,
right.
I'm not changing your flat tire, fool. You better call AAA. But there's a block button for people that are stalking and that are crazy. And just like trying to get people not to go in the bathrooms, you can't stop pervs from doing what pervs do, but you could try.
Well, I think it's a whole new avenue for pervs. I'm not planning anything. I'm just saying that's something to be aware of.
It used to be Polaroid pictures, and now it's this. I guess it's something we all have to deal with in our personal struggle.
See, I was anticipating really a lot of pushback over all of the things Google's doing. I'm all in on Google. I fully embrace our future overlords, but I can understand people saying, well, now you're putting, an array mic in every room of my house that the NSA could turn on at will, and it has, I can hear a pin drop in my house. You're putting, well, for instance, one of the complaints about Allo came from Edward Snowden. Allo has strong encryption built in. It has the Signal strong encryption from the Open Whisper systems that WhatsApp has as well. I mean, it's good, strong encryption, but it's not on by default. You have to say, I want to go into incognito mode. And Snowden said, no, it should be on by default. But I feel like if you want to choose that, there are plenty of choices like Signal and WhatsApp and even incognito mode. You're not going to get the AI in Allo, which is their messaging app, to know about you and listen to you unless you don't do that for a while. So I'm willing to trade that privacy, especially since I don't really care if people, bad guys listened in.
All you have to do is ask the pertinent question. Well, before I ask the question, I use incognito mode in my household instead of incognito, but that's just me. Hashtag t-shirt pending.
I think for DWB, that'd be very useful, don't you think?
The two things you ask yourself are, one, who do you trust? Do you trust Amazon? Do you trust Google? Do you trust Facebook? I mean, I've got so many apps on my phone. Good Lord. I mean, you'd be mining for a year to find half of the applications we're talking about. So after you figure out who you trust, the next question is, when's the last time you committed crime? Because I myself, as a former criminal and sometimes future criminal, I know better than to use objects that might talk to the NSA, the FBI, or the police. Like I said, I can show you my driver's license right now. It doesn't have my home address on it. You cannot find me. I'm in the back cave. So criminals know better. I'm not saying I am one. I'm just saying I might be one again in the future.
Anybody so motivated can do it, right?
You would know better.
Yeah. So is there nobody who's going to stand up for our privacy rights and say Edward Snowden's right?
But he is right. I think that the point of that, and I understand the thoughts of, if you're not doing anything wrong, then you shouldn't have to worry about it. But it's not just about that. One is we should never have to give up our privacy in order to have a really cool feature. So, and the second thing is that it can be used against you. So everyone probably has something on them that they wouldn't want other people to know, what kind of nefarious websites they surf, what type of people they talk to, what are their basic interests. And that can be used against you in order to gain control. And so I think that there's something really dangerous about giving up your privacy so effortlessly. And unfortunately, by nature, people are made to want to have things easier more than they'll think ahead. So we'll sell our future for right now. And that's the way that we are. And so because of that, because there's so many cool features on Allo, you'll be like, oh, you know what? I don't want to turn on incognito mode. Then I can't do any of the cool things that I want. And now it's not just finding out about what you do, but also your mannerisms, the way that your patterns of speech are, the things that you enjoy, the things that you don't enjoy, your political alliances, where have you traveled to. It's getting really intrusive, and I think that that's dangerous.
is an interesting, actually, inside, a little bit inside baseball, but there's an interesting story about the engineer who worked on the encryption in Allo. He has a personal blog, and of course, as with all engineers at Google, he's allowed some leeway as long as it says in his personal blog, my opinions, I'm trying to find it here, are not those of Google. But he said that he really wanted to push for default end-to-end encryption. So his name is Tai Duong. He was actually a hacker. Or at least a white hat hacker who came up with a number of serious flaws in a variety of technologies. He published on his blog, the burning question now is if incognito mode with end-to-end encryption and disappearing messages is so useful, why isn't it the default? In other words, lobbying for that. Those paragraphs about that have been erased from his post, and his title has been changed from Tai Duong is working on encryption at Google for Allo to was working on encryption for Google at Allo. But what's interesting is that Google's sensitive to this. I think you're not going to get, I don't know. I mean, so here's my thought, and this kind of goes back to what Marco Arment was saying. Apple chose a long time ago, and has doubled down on it since, to go the privacy route. We're going to sell the fact that we are not collecting data on you. We don't want to know anything about you as one of the features of our operating systems and our devices. Google's always gone the opposite direction, saying, no, but the more we know about you, the better we can help you with things like the Google Now cards. And is Apple going to paint itself into a corner? Will Siri eventually, ultimately be very limited because of Apple's stance on privacy? And can Google go full speed ahead? And then the question is, is the market going to weigh in favor of privacy and go with Apple, or in favor of convenience and go with Google? And I think those are unanswered questions at this point.
Well, what are the limitations? I mean, if you dive into some of the limitations, I mean, first of all, I think Siri is just behind just because it's behind, not because it doesn't have access to all of this data in a way that Google does.
But even if it does, Apple doesn't want to cross that creepy line, right?
Right, of course. Yeah, they're all in on not crossing that creepy line.
Right.
So can they create a robust enough platform that people are actually using, even beyond our kids, in ways that are useful, like the assistant feature and being able to sort of preemptively see things that are coming up? And I think we're going to see more shades of this at WWDC this summer about how intuitive, right, Apple was proactive and seeing things ahead of time and making them useful. But I'm curious what the limitations are right now. Other than the speed with which we're able to receive results, but Google has been out in front on that.
Well, just think about Maps, for instance. Google, because they own Waze, is collecting huge amounts of data about your commute. And of course, the creepy line, I don't find it creepy, but some might find it creepy, is that Google Now cards will tell you, it's going to take you 7 minutes to get home, and maybe you want to leave now. Or we'll tell you, you're going to be at the airport. I see you're flying out of town tonight. You might want to leave now for the airport. I think that's insanely useful, but I think I could see reasonably some people might think that's creepy. And I don't think it's something Apple can do very well because for two reasons. One, they aren't collecting that information. And two, they don't want to be perceived as collecting that information. They don't want to cross the creepy line. That's going to be is that going to be a market problem for them?
I don't know. They're looking at your calendar. We already get nice alerts that, if you leave now, you should get there because of traffic. The traffic
Should they do
bad.
more of that or less of that?
I think that in the end, everyone wants to have a virtual assistant that's really going to be able to help them. People can't afford to have an assistant to be able to deal with that. And in the end, our level of stress will be lowered if something can help us out. Say, listen, you know what? You have two, appointments at the same time. You're going to have to leave this time to be able to arrive there. And so I think that unfortunately most people would sell off their privacy to be able to have their day-to-day life be more calm. And in most cases, it's not going to matter. Most cases, that will not be used against me. I think that the danger is that we're so effortlessly giving that away that it should be something that we're discussing more often. I think that most people are like, you know what? I'm not doing anything wrong, so I shouldn't have to worry about that. But then, as the political atmosphere changes, you don't know how that's going to be used against yourself or someone else.
Most people live in a default world. they don't even know what the privacy settings are until there's some big hub about it. So they live in a world where, oh, my privacy's on, my privacy's off, it doesn't matter. Case in point, Apple just doesn't have anything to sell. So them collecting data on you isn't as effective as I bought a tile from Best Buy and they asked me, did I want my receipt emailed to me? And they emailed me my receipt. And now for the next 3 weeks, everything I open on a web page is going to say tile, buy a tile. And I'm like, idiot, I already bought one. That's why I have the receipt. And that's the power that Google has to push things into your face. But
do you hate that because Apple it's trying to sell you something you already bought? If it were a better recommendation engine, would you embrace it? If it said, now that you've got the tile, you want the grout, that would be an ad that would be more useful to you. Would that make it okay?
And at some point we will get to that, and that's the whole beauty of AI and things learning how to do things and put things in position for you. But I can't get annoyed at it because I'm using a free service, and this service is a service I don't pay for, and they've got to make money. And if they think they're making money off me buying something I already got, then cookies to them. They're going to figure out in a week or two that I didn't click it. But Apple just doesn't have that mechanism to say, "Ooh, I've been listening to you all week. Let me sell you some cookies through an affiliate program that I've got set up." They have no way to benefit from it, so that's why they're so gun-ho on, we're going to sell you products that don't sell you to the world. You're not for sale.
But that's my point. It doesn't have to be benefit purely for advertising. A lot of the benefit that Google's going to get from collecting all that information is in being a smart assistant that actually is smart as opposed to Siri, which isn't particularly smart. I mean,
which we discussed that most people don't use anyway outside of our bubble.
Well, maybe they would if it really were useful. I mean, Allo. So I thought there would be more pushback. To be honest with you guys, I'm going to have to start getting anti-Google here on you, because you all seem to kind of welcome.
Well, I think we're desensitized to it. I think once we had the baby monitors that were hacked into and people whispering to babies, right. I mean, there's a level of convenience for a mom and a dad to sit downstairs and watch Game of Thrones and look in on their smartphone and kind of check in on their kids, with the baby monitor. And we're seeing this slow evolution of the home automation. I think it's way behind where I want it to be. I want the home to be more integrated.
Isn't that why we love the Echo? Because it disappears as a device. It's really, you're talking to your house.
Right. To have that unified experience like HomeKit that hasn't really come to fruition in the way that we would want. Even talking to companies that want to have HomeKit integration feel like Apple has been letting that languish or making it difficult for them to get the proper implementation into it. Some companies. Even like this, even companies that, and I know, Leo, you had played with this, and I've been playing with it. In fact, they want to send you a new one because I was talking about you with them. The Ireo.
Yeah, they keep trying to send me. They're fans, and I haven't been able to get it to work. So,
well, you had like some firmware issue with like a journalist and used one, but talking to like what their future looks like. They're really looking at the home as this sort of connected environment.
Well, they're absolutely trying to solve a major problem, which is that we all embraced wireless networking, and it was a great thing until everybody else did. And now it's so congested that it doesn't work very well.
Well, until we get a situation where I hear about somebody getting busted from their home, from their Nest.
It hasn't happened yet.
Echo. Until that has to happen one time for you to get pushback from me and the nation.
Okay.
But as of right now, if the NSA is out there listening to me and they know what my secret hiding spot is for that stuff that I keep secret at my house, and they haven't come to my house to get it yet, then I'm cool. You know what I mean? Because if they've been listening, then they would know.
Well, I think I understand what you're saying, and it's kind of what I've been saying, which is most of the dangers, the hazards of this stuff are hypothetical. For now. I mean, I'll ask people, and they'll say, well, what if your insurance company denied you insurance because Google told them you were eating a lot of donuts? Yeah, that would be bad, but that's a hypothetical risk that hasn't happened. And in fact, if you think about it, one of the reasons life insurance companies ask you so much information before they give you life insurance is so that if you lie about anything, they could deny you your payout. Oh, he said he didn't smoke, but you know what? We got video of him smoking. They know plenty about you already. I don't think that's a hazard, but you make a point. And yet, if that does happen, Owen, isn't it going to be too late by the time that happens? What if we get an authoritarian government that decides to start using this against us? By then, it's too late. We all have microphones in our house.
By that point, they got armies and tanks and guns and stuff that we got to worry about far more than a listening
But
device.
this is a tool they can use with those armies and tanks and guns.
We can go Red Dawn on their ass.
I know. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I want that to happen. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
to your point,
I want to go in the hills and be a freedom
We're
fighter.
going to Owen's man cave and
right? And then you can live. Like, I unplug my PlayStation, and that's the reason I don't have an Xbox. The Xbox always listen. That's why I don't have an Echo.
Okay, so you are aware of this.
I unplug everything that listens to me.
Well,
and my phone is
the worst thing about this, and I presume the Google Home as well. I'm holding up an Amazon Echo. By the way, if anybody wants to buy my Echo, I'm going to put it on Craigslist because I got about 5 of these, and I'm going to buy Google Homes now. No, I'm just kidding.
I would say to send me one, but I'm scared to have it in my house.
Well, because this has a fairly sophisticated array mics in here that aren't. It's just not like the microphone on your smartphone. This is a microphone that can hear everything in your house. And you know what we don't know, and could very well be happening. We just don't know. Is national security letters could be going out to Amazon, saying, "Oh, by the way, we'd like to turn on the Echo at 140 Keller Street and listen for a while. Would you, you know?"
That's the most frightening of all of this.
And that could be happening right now. We just don't know.
Because we're opting into these technologies, right? We're buying and choosing to put an Echo in our home or not, or turned it off. In the case of Owen, we have all these other devices that we choose to plug in, and we're opting in on these different websites, and obviously Google Now features when we, or as you mentioned, a lot of it's default, so we're not necessarily opting into a lot of it. Some of it's on by default. But with the government, that's an entirely different animal, and absolutely does not have a right to be spying on Americans. You know, at what point do you give up your civil liberties?
So the way to pursue this is go after the NSLs and the FISA courts and all of that, as opposed to say, well, I'm not going to have anything in my house because I just worry about it.
Yeah, we need to have the government supposed to protect our rights. Yeah. And the funniest part is that they don't need to bug us anymore. We're bugging ourselves.
Right.
We're like bringing all this stuff in, so it makes it really easy for them. And there's no way that a government entity that would be able to do good wouldn't say, you know what, let's just turn on this little tiny device. It's already there and it'll hear everything, and let's be able to track whatever's happening for whatever reason. And if a government is doing the right thing, then you wouldn't really have to worry about that. But unfortunately, you never know. You never know with people and power. You just want more of that. And if you end up with a government entity that might be more nefarious than you want, they may be using this for ill will and be able to control other political opponents so that they're not going to go out there because they know what websites you've been surfing on late at night, and be able to leak that out, which would ruin your campaign, and be able to tie up people's hands.
The FBI, we know this for a fact, the FBI planted bugs all around the federal courthouse in San Mateo County because they wanted to hear privileged conversations between attorneys and felons or felons on trial. And they did this. And so now, admittedly, you're in the public. It's a little different than in your house, a lot different than in your house. Nevertheless, I think this shows there's a strong inclination on the part of law enforcement to gather information any way they can.
Of course. First of all, look at England with all the cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
What about the one politician that tweeted out his website and then had porn tabs open? He told on himself. Right. And Georgia, you're immune to this because
he was doing research, Owen. I want to be very clear about that.
Let me finish my statement. So, this guy's telling himself, Americans are dumb. We live in a world where we're a heartbeat away from maybe electing Donald Trump as president. We think that the government could get themselves together to listen in on to do something on somebody's phone. Hold on while I sip my tea about that.
But wait a minute. Now, should Donald Trump become elected, I think he would have the competence and maybe even the desire and will to in fact start doing stuff like this. I don't think we're so far away from. I think we've never been into. You're a history buff, Clayton, and we've never been far away from that risk. That's something we have to be eternally vigilant of. A government that is not. Yes. That's what the founding fathers were worried about.
Sting, for crying out loud, wrote when he was with the police in the early 80s, every breath you take is about Reagan's America. That was Sting's, that was exact, this idea of surveillance and constantly watching. And so this has been around for many, many years. This isn't new under Trump. This isn't new under Obama.
No,
police getting body cams, all of these things. is it making us safer? How intrusive is it? We're in public spaces. Can people be listening in with microphones and all of these things? Police departments, of course, want this technology, right? You see it around the NYPD, you see it around New York City streets with police cameras and things all over the city. But in the end, it ends up being very often just citizen awareness that stops things. Remember that van that was parked in Times Square near New Year's Eve or during the Christmas holiday season? It was packed with explosives or whatever. It was because a bodega owner noticed it and called the police. Even all of the cameras that were right there, and one of those little sub towers where the police can go up in the ladder and hang out didn't even notice it.
There's widespread use now of stingrays. Local police all over the country are using these devices that simulate a cell tower and collect not just the cell phone information of a bad guy, but everybody in the area. Everybody goes by the stingray, joins the cell tower. They can collect text messages. They can collect information from your phone. They certainly know who you are. This is spreading a net. And so we see, in other words, law enforcement is certainly willing, and I would say 99.9% of them are probably well-intentioned, but certainly willing to use technology to surveil us with the intent of making us safer, and I respect that intent. Okay, so the reason I brought all this up is I tried to raise some concern about what Google's up to, but at the same time, I think that these are devices I want in my house.
We should, from the history perspective, right? Thomas Jefferson talked about fearing the government, that the government should fear the people should never fear its government, that they should be always in fear of the people, right? And that when the government becomes too big, we should throw off the shackles of this government. So the idea that, Owen, to your point, saying, that you don't think that they're competent enough or that they just don't have the wherewithal. Yes, they're going through all of our emails, but what the heck? Are they really going to sit there and pour through all of this or create the algorithms to really study and find out, Minority Report style pre-crime where things are about to happen? I don't know. I'm troubled the fact that
computers make it easier
anyway. I mean, that they have access to our phone calls. They're listening into anything we say. You're right. You never know when someone's going to be using this information, as in the case of the IRS. Look what the IRS scandal and the Cincinnati offices. I mean, whatever. I don't care what your political persuasion is, Democrat, conservative, libertarian, whatever. The fact that they were targeting conservative groups and actually limiting their ability at free speech and to be able to get money and to actually form organizations, and the IRS was specifically targeting them, that's troubling.
Now, on the other hand, I think Allo, which is their messaging program, you have encryption. It's not on by default. I think that has some very interesting ideas. The idea that for instance, this is where I think Google's doing something very intriguing. And it's not just Allo, it's also the instant app feature that they kind of ended the keynote with as a quick mention. I think what they're trying to do, and it will be beneficial for Google, is become an intermediate between you and your apps. One of the problems I had with Facebook's Messenger bots is that you had to subscribe to individual bots, and then they annoyed you. I subscribed, as I mentioned before, to that weather bot, and it just bugged me so much that I had to block it. I couldn't turn it off. I had to block it like a stalker. And the way Allo's going to work is you don't add bots. You interact with bots by interacting with Google. So you say, Google, what's a restaurant near me? I need an Italian restaurant near me. What are the best ones? It tells you this. So make a reservation at that one. It then calls on OpenTable. And if you don't have OpenTable installed, the Instant app will load just enough OpenTable, not the whole app, just enough OpenTable to make a reservation and get back to you. I think this is really interesting. I think this is a kind of two things. It's a new form of search. Google, of course, the king of search, had realized, and they said this at the very beginning, Sundar Pichai said this, that the 10 blue links are not search anymore. That's not what people want anymore. It's a new kind of search that's more interactive, more talking to an agent that's working on your behalf. And it's also a new way of thinking of your devices. In the case of a cell phone. And
apps.
Yeah, because you don't need apps. You just, your cell phone now becomes your do-everything device, and it calls upon the skills it needs. It loads the skills it needs ad hoc, as needed. I think that's a revolution.
I think it could be. I think the future was apps, and then we have 30 apps from one company that all do different things, right? Messenger, then you have Facebook pages, Facebook mentions, Facebook Live, 30 apps from one company.
Yeah.
And this is putting these overlays, sort of circumventing the open web, but also not having you have to open all of these different apps, but pulling out the best parts of these apps. And we started to see this over the past few years with Apple as well and iOS, and, extensibility and being able to tap into certain features. I think it's one of the best things to happen to mobile since the beginning.
So you see, this is the problem we all have as technologists is, on the one hand, we want these capabilities, we want these skills, we're excited by what they offer. On the other hand, we know as well as anybody the risks inherent in using these tools. How do we balance this? Owen, what do you think? You're the of all of us, you have been probably the most affected by inappropriate government attention. You've been pulled over how many times this year?
This year 6, last year 13.
For driving while black?
Pretty much 90% of the time.
Because you're a big African-American driving a nice car in a nice neighborhood.
Nice neighborhood, yeah. Last year I got stopped 13 times, I think it ended up being the whole year, and I got 2 tickets. So either I'm
just checking it out. They're seeing what are you doing. The sad thing is you've got your daughter in the car. I saw the last time you were in your own you were in your own driveway. You were in front of your house.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying earlier. Like, as far as I'm concerned, not to pull the black card, but people of my nature have been used to the government doing things to them and being on top of them and secretly doing stuff for history and a lifetime. So I know that they're doing stuff they're not supposed to do. I try not to worry about it, live my day-to-day life. And I know that if it ever gets bad, when people say that rioting and protesting and all that kind of stuff, I know that there's a fire in people's hearts that if the government went too far, we would burn this sucker down, and it would look like Batman Dark Knight, and we would rise up against the overlord.
I do have, you know what? I do have faith.
Power for that.
I do have faith. I hope it doesn't come to a red dawn.
No.
But I do have faith that the people are smart enough to protect ourselves. That's what we've done all along.
Even if they're not smart enough, at the end of the day, you're smart enough to protect yourself.
Yeah.
We might not be smart enough to listen to Edward Snowden. Some people think he's a traitor. Some people think he's a liberator of knowledge. So, everybody has their own opinion. But at the end of the day, when all people are oppressed at one time, that's why all empires have fallen. You know what I mean?
That's right.
America's looking pretty good right now. But you tell me one other empire in history that has not come a tumbling down. And when greedy gets too greedy, then the needy get super needy.
But I would also point out, look at Greece. But I would also point out, and I know, Clayton, you know this well, that it never is bloodless. It is never victimless, that it is a very painful, violent process that one would want to avoid in any way as much as one could.
And at this point in history, this is actually one of the better situations, right? So they're stealing our information, they're messing with our taxes, they're stealing property and phone conversations and throwing you in jail. But it's not like they're coming in and just
we still have probably more freedom than I know.
So like I said,
it's a mixed bag.
It's good. It's good. But shouldn't we fight for more? I think that everyone still has a right to be able to surf whatever they want to surf, and it shouldn't be preeminently, dealing with what you might do. It should be what you have done. And so I think we should still be informed and be able to say to our governments, this is not something that we think is acceptable, so that they don't go too far. And we have everyone being able to feel that freedom of not having to be creeped out about their echo in their house, which I'm with you, Owen. It creeps me out. I don't have one for that reason.
Really?
I don't even like it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't even like having Google know my location on my computer, or every time I surf the web for somewhere, and I always sign out of Google, and then they add another, look, you've been looking at kites. Here's some other kites. I'm thinking, you know what?
How'd they know that?
This still bothers me. Yeah.
All my information is wrong on my accounts. We've discussed this many times. Like, Facebook thinks I'm a 63-year-old white man. Yeah. They send me stuff from Viagra. I got the old lady dating sites. This is the coolest thing. They're like, there's a 68-year-old woman in your neighborhood. And I'm like, oh yeah, check that out. So they're all spamming me.
By the way, you could start sending all those ads to me. That would be great. Yeah. Thank you.
Send them your way.
No, and the reason I bring both of you in is because Clayton and I are unfortunate. Of course, we're going to embrace it. We got nothing to lose. We're the establishment.
Yeah, Clayton's at the top of Jersey. I'm at the bottom of Jersey. We live in two different ecospheres of the Jersey lifestyle.
But I think it's important that we understand the risks for everybody. It's a difficult challenge because I have an Echo. I love my Echo. I have many Echoes. I have Echoes everywhere I go. And
there was a great article I read about not using your thumbprint on your phone, because what if you get pulled over and now they're checking to see if you texted or didn't text? But what if they go in there and they see, okay, well, you smoke weed, and they find a picture of you smoking weed? They're like, oh,
they don't have to look far.
Too?
I posted one on my Facebook page.
Or like, again, I think of crazy things like, there are perverts in the world, right? So what happens if you get mistaken as a pervert because you got pictures of a child? It happens to be your nephew or your niece, but this person has a hard on and wants to put a case against you. And they feel like, I just think of all the outlandish things of why now I can't even use my fingerprint on my phone and get in my phone quick, because I don't want anybody looking through my phone.
So you don't use fingerprint?
No, I always tell myself because I sound like a criminal, but I'm not. I got taken to the police station. I had a warrant out because I had a ticket. I was in the hospital. I missed the court. It was a $500 ticket. I wasn't doing anything criminal. I was speeding. But when they took me in, I was like, well, I already paid the bail, and they took me in anyway because the system was messed up. They fingerprint me, and the guy's like, oh, well, unlock your phone. And I'm like, what do you need to go on my phone for? And he's like, I just need you to unlock your phone, because he didn't like the way I was talking to him, because after I explained, I already paid it.
You were mouthing off. Yeah.
Yeah. So he left the room, and I unlocked my phone, my handcuffs, and I called my friend. I'm like, yo, get down here to this police station just to check on me, make sure I'm all right. And he comes busting back in. I saw you on the phone. Who are you calling? And I'm like, I was calling my brother to come here, so I make sure I'm all right. He's like, well, I'm going to roll the tape back. If you said anything incriminating, I'm going to listen to it. I'm like, well, feel free to go listen to the tape. But he really wanted to get in my phone. And again, long story short, I had paid the bail because I was going to be going to court, and I missed it. And I had to pay work and everything. But in their system, it said that I was out on his bail. So I was like, why did he want to go on my phone? Now, again, I don't have anything on my phone.
It's kind of a fishing. It feels like a fishing expedition, doesn't it? They're looking for. Now, of course, you get into court, they're going to say they can't use that. Nevertheless,
well, even that, he forgot to read me my rights when he arrested me or whatever.
Boy.
So
that's
when he
the
comes
problem.
in, he's like, I need you to fill out this form that says I read you your rights. I'm like, well, you didn't. He's like, I just need you to sign it because he read it to me later. I'm like, well, I can't sign that. And he's like, why not? I'm like, are you telling me I have to sign it?
Dude,
you're
I
don't playing around. When I know I'm in the right, you ain't gonna Sandra blame me. I'll tell you what. I was like, I can't sign that. And he's like, why not? I'm like, because you didn't read my rights till after I got here. I can't acknowledge. He's like, you have to sign it. I'm like, so you're saying I have to sign it? You're forcing me to sign it? Because you can initial that and I'll say forced to sign, then I'll sign it. And then he just walked out. 10 minutes later, I was let go anyway. But
you're lucky to get your knees.
Wow.
Man, look, I tell you what, like I said, I am super duper polite, but half the time I get pulled over, I was bumping Taylor Swift. And there ain't nothing. I mean, my radio's loud. I got 3,000.
I know how it is. Taylor Swift gets you angry.
I was bumping Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Cop pulls me over, and I'm thinking like, man, I was bumping the whitest thing available. Why are you? It's like your taillight's out. And I'm like, my taillight can't be out, sir. This car is 3 months old. It's a 2015. It's brand new. Got 3,000 miles on it. Well, your taillight's out. License registration. I was like, sir, if you come back with a ticket for my taillight being out, I'm going to need you to allow me to out my vehicle so I can take a picture of my taillight. He comes back. I gave you a verbal warning for that taillight being out. Fix it. And I'm like,
was your taillight out?
And was it out?
No.
So really, he's checking you out.
Yeah, again, and I was like, I know my radio's loud, but it's not like I had a noise ordinance. It was during the middle of the day, and I was on the highway. But he just didn't like that I was thumping down the street, and I was like, it's Taylor Swift bad blood, brother. You don't like Taylor Swift that much? Like,
wow.
It's America. So
I'm dancing really loud to music in my car. Never had that happen.
Look, you're in Canada.
You see someone dancing crazy in the car. It's me.
I turn up NWA as loud as I can, and I cannot get pulled over.
Well, the best thing about my car radio being loud is when I pull up Leah at school, all the kids start dancing in the street. Even the crossing lady starts dancing. I love that. And then I love pulling up on people that are like stodgy and annoying, and I throw on some like classical music or something, and I roll my window down, and I give them that great poupon moment.
You're just trouble all around. Trouble.
I can't see why you'd be pulled over.
Were you blasting classical music at those elderly people, Mr. Stone?
Their IQs went up 15 points.
My brother has the car from the Grey Poupon commercial, and he actually carries it in his glove compartment because people used to stop him. Yeah. He has
it's like 49. A Rolls or something?
Yeah, Bentley. Yeah, Rolls-Royce Bentley. And he
Silver
would,
Shadow.
people would actually ask him, "Do you have any Grey Poupon?" And he would actually give.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do.
What?
Have a spoonful, but don't forget to give it back.
Coolest person in Canada, your brother is.
Why is he rocking a Bentley?
My brother has all kinds of old cars. He's got the old Cadillac with the fins.
Oh, does he have a Lincoln with suicide doors?
He does not have a Lincoln.
That's what I
with
want.
suicide.
He
That's
doesn't
right.
want
He
anybody
has
tracking
all
him,
kinds
Leo. He doesn't want the GPS. He's got that old school, no tech, low tech.
Old school.
That's
No
my
airbags
brother.
for me, man.
He makes,
I got
he has Game of Thrones set up in his backyard with all the walls of faces, and he builds.
What?
Oh yeah. My brother has Narnia in his backyard. He has castle ruins. He has an old skulls that he has it's amazing. His backyard it's used for people just go there to hang out at my brother's. He
Wow,
owns
I was
a
just thinking
special
about getting an
effects
air
shop.
hockey table.
Yeah.
Is he in Canada?
He's in Canada. You come down to Canada.
I need an invite to a family dinner. Let's put that on
Okay.
the schedule.
We're all going to go
I'll
have
hop
smoked
plane.
meat and
June 18th, come on
poutine.
down. My brother's barbecue. You guys are
Man,
invited.
Is this
I'm
in
almost there.
Montreal?
You can totally come. It's really
Come on,
sick.
Uncle Leo,
cool.
let's
My
go.
brother's place.
Let's go to Montreal road trip.
Montreal.
Right.
Montreal's awesome.
I love Montreal.
Clayton, you too. You can head on down.
I would love to. We'll come to the Red Wedding.
Let's not push it. Let's not push it.
The red barbecue.
I've escaped all
You
my
can
incidents
come.
not being
You
shot
can
yet. I'm
come.
not
Come
trying
on.
to go to the Red
Back.
Wedding.
The girl has no nose. Let's take a break and come back with more. We got Owen J.J. Stone. Doctor is with us. Georgia Dow from imore.com. Clayton Morris from Fox and Friends. It's a great team. I told you it'd be fun. Told you we'd have some fun today. Our show today brought to you by GoToMeeting. It's time to step up your meeting game. Take your meetings to the next level with GoToMeeting. It lets you easily collaborate with clients and colleagues anywhere in the world. And nowadays, in this global village of ours, they may be anywhere in the world. You can be a meeting MVP no matter where they are, no matter where you are. With GoToMeeting, you can start meetings with a single click of the mouse. You can meet from your team anywhere, anytime, even from a mobile device. I've held meetings on my iPad. It's awesome. You could use your webcam. They can use their webcam. Now you're seeing your colleagues in high def. It's like being in the same room together, but you don't have to go to lunch afterwards. I like that. Share your screen. You get on the same page. You can pass off presenter duties. Great for collaboration. Great for pitches. If you're going to do a sales pitch, make it easy for your client. Make it fun for your client. You can even, if there's a big, this is kind of mean, but you have private chats and video links you could be doing in the background while the guy's doing his presentation. GoToMeeting. It'll help you step up your meeting game, and your best work will shine through. I know teams that keep GoToMeeting running all day long. Now's the time to put on your best performance. Be the meeting MVP at your place of employ. Start your free 30-day trial. GoToMeeting.com. Click on the button. It says, try it free. GoToMeeting.com. You'll be up and running with your first meeting in just a couple of minutes. I think we've probably done Google I/O. We did the VR we talked about. We talked about the Glade Home thing. We talked about the instant apps.
It was actually nice to love on Google. Google actually did something right if we're all on board.
I'm shocked. I really thought that people would be just slamming them. I mean,
Well, wait. I do still think that Google is Cybernet. I'm not saying they're not.
Skynet.
Skynet.
Yeah.
Cybernet is the company that makes Skynet. Yeah, I think they're.
We'll
We'll all be wearing Google socks. I'm just saying that they made some cool products.
I noticed we're downplaying the use of the term artificial intelligence and big on machine learning. That sounds harmless, right? It's just machine learning. Or is
that
it?
sounds scary. They have big men.
I know, that's
and
kind of worse,
cat
isn't
dog and the spider thing. Like, no, they're all ready.
The big problem
just
Google
making
has,
smarter.
though, the big problem Google has right now is they have abandoned so many great things. They put out so many things like the on-hub router. There's an example that had all this promise that never materialized. That there's going to be a lot of people who are going to say, well, I'm going to wait and see. Is Allo going to be great? Is the Google Home going to be great? I'm going to wait and see.
Yeah,
the
Google
one
Glass.
thing
Google Glass, yeah.
the
Google
one
Glass
thing
wasn't
Google
that
needs to,
great though.
No, it wasn't.
Google also has the ability to, and the thing I respect is they do let things go to bring in new things, because when something hits, it hits, and then when it takes off, it takes off. They usually don't beat a dead horse. But the other problem Google has is they have no marketing budget whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like this Duo thing was the first thing that I can think of that they've done that, as I said earlier, made me feel something. Now, Apple, even though I'm sick of it and I'm force-fed it and I understand it, they always make me feel like I'm going to be a better person when I buy their stuff. I know I'm still a piece of trash, but when I first buy this phone, I feel like I'm better than everybody else that's not in this line.
Well, that's a great...
And that's what Apple does.
Here, I got your next phone, Owen.
Question.
Take a look.
That's a great point.
Take a look. This is your next phone, Owen.
The new flip phone?
I'm waiting. There.
That thing looks awesome.
No, you're lying. That looks terrible.
Man, I'm trying to transform like Voltron. You don't know what's coming back to Netflix?
This is Project Era. This was something that Motorola had left behind when they left Google to join Lenovo. And Google, one of the things they announced at Google I/O is, we're putting this out this fall. The developer edition will be out. It's a modular phone. You think this is a good idea?
Hey, again, they try it. I might buy it. Again, the problem is they don't make me feel anything. Google, if anybody's listening to Google, listen, hire me. I will make a commercial for you that actually makes people feel something. Even if they hate it, I'll make them feel something. Y'all don't make people feel anything with all this stuff you make, which is the biggest problem because you can't even bring people in and trick them to buying it and then fall in love with it. Because most of the time, my iPhone isn't perfect, but I think it is because I've been brainwashed.
You love it. You've been brainwashed. You want to be brainwashed.
I can't even go back to Windows. I had to put Boot Camp on my Mac because I can't justify my brain buying a PC anymore.
It's true. Apple is a little too good at marketing, if you ask me.
Yeah, but we're missing a larger point, which is the storefront. You know, Amazon, right on the front of Amazon.com, every one of their new Kindles, the Echo, right at the top. We don't have sales numbers, of course, but it's doing well. We know that.
Yeah.
And
look at that.
We know.
Are you going to buy that $300 Oasis?
I've been testing.
He's on the nose.
Yeah,
he is on the nose about the storefront.
Look what Amazon's not willing. Also, to your point, Owen, I mean, Amazon's willing to concede defeat with like the Amazon phone, right? That was Bezos' pet project, and it was a disaster. Cut off, gone, totally deleted, no sign of it.
Yeah,
Amazon. But to your point, where do you go to buy Google stuff? I mean, are you going to have on the front page of Google, Google.com, the coveted homepage where we saw the Nexus for a short time, right? Was it the Nexus there for a short time?
Yeah, they don't want to put ads, though, there, right? They want that to be the clean. People were mad at them for putting a Nexus ad.
Are you going to have a Google store? Is that the next?
There is a Google store. Oh, you mean a physical store?
A physical Google store.
I mean, I think their store.google.com is actually pretty as good as Apple's, isn't it? It sells the product.
What he's saying is, I can walk into it, I can see it, I can feel it, I can taste it.
All right.
I can talk to somebody.
All right. After we go visit George's brother in Montreal, you're all invited to the new Apple Union Square store. They just opened it Thursday.
This is a beautiful store.
I think this is dopey.
Listen to the tone in her voice.
Yes, it's dopey.
Leo,
this is a dopey store.
What's dopey about it?
Do we have the video that Kara shot? Is that around in the TriCaster? No. We sent somebody down to shoot some video of it. So this is their 15th anniversary store, and they're redoing all the Apple stores. I think are going to look like this. It has a forest, a little garden grove inside the store.
What are you hateful? What do you have against trees?
It's not a store.
What's wrong with trees?
They call it not the Genius Bar, the Genius Grove.
You can go out and get some free basil.
It's a great idea. It's community.
Free basil.
It's community. This is a place where people can just hang out and chill. And I think that's what people are missing. People are so sick of buying things online with computers where we can actually go there and actually meet other people and hang out and relax and not have to feel any pressure, have some cool Apple products hanging out in the background. You can check out the nice, beautiful rose gold, but relatively useless MacBook, and just enjoy. There'll be music, there'll be bands, there'll be artisans. You can go there and have a meeting. There'll be places where you can hang. This is an area where we can actually deal with community and, have Apple products in the background. I think it's brilliant marketing. And those 42-foot, glass doors, opening those up so that it becomes part of, it's no longer a store, it's just an area you can walk in and forget where inside is and outside is. I think it's great marketing. That's my thought on it.
Leo, you are so wrong, Captain. Get off my lawn.
This is technology as a lifestyle. This is exactly what's wrong with Apple.
No. See, you don't understand the way the world works. We live in a world where we're jaded by everything digital and beepity bopping, and you tell kids don't go outside. Well, the trick to get them to go outside is to bring the outside to inside. Then
put a grove inside the store.
There's trees and there's plants. Have you not been to Japan and seen bonsai trees inside of a room and the spirit and the essence of life and the feng shui? You don't know nothing about feng shui. I'm telling you.
I don't want feng shui. I want a gosh darn computer. I think they're selling a lifestyle that is bogus. It's BS.
Listen
But
to the
it's all
love in
BS,
George's
right?
voice.
It's all a
You
lie,
can't even.
but we believe it. That's all that matters.
I don't believe.
All that love in George's voice, you can't even fight that with your grumpy old man. Get off my lawn. I'm bringing you a bonsai tree next time I come out there.
I ordered a bonsai tree. I got the floating one on Kickstarter. I'm fine on bonsais.
Has it arrived?
Not yet. Probably will
No,
never.
that's why he's just grumpy about trees, Owen, because
I
he
love
didn't
trees.
get bonsai yet.
I don't want to conflate trees with commerce. Trees are trees. They should be in a forest. Go in the forest. That's fine. This is a store.
Beyond just the aesthetic, what has changed from the experience? I mean, that's the larger
They're not
question,
selling
right?
stuff anymore. They're
right.
That's what's changed. They're trying to make it an app. I'm not kidding. I find this creepy. They're trying to make an Apple lifestyle. This is taking the brand too far, in my opinion.
It's a trend in the world. If you go to Asia, they have cat and puppy shops where you just walk in and literally drink coffee with somebody's cat because you want to feel things and be outside.
And this is what you want? This is what you want for the world?
This coming from
I
a guy
wish
who lives
for the
in a
Hobbit
cave right
days
now.
of Leo Laporte when you used to work out of a cottage and had some spirituality and the essence of a tiny box. Now you done got to this big industrial warehouse and you think that you're on top, mister? Well, you're wrong because I heard the love and
I'm going
George's
to put
voice
some
and that
trees in
spread
here,
across the
and then you'll be visiting the Twit Forest.
You better do it. And also in your will, put your thing as an urn as a plant. So you could be planted as a tree when you die.
I love trees. I love nature.
I think it's that you just don't want to go to a store to hang out with other people because you're done after
It's
doing all of these
cultish.
podcasts. You're done with people.
I'm going to put my sneakers and my white running shoes and my white tracksuit on, and I'm going to sit there and say, I'm waiting to be taken up to Steve's land. It's cultish. It's weird. It's creepy. They're selling computers. They're fetishizing this stuff.
But I don't think so. I think that they're giving something back to the community where if you have a small startup, you can go there and hang out and actually deal with business. If it's going to have like the little tiny open Union Square thing where you can just sit there 24/7, not buy anything, listen to music, have free Wi-Fi, drink your latte.
I
and
think
you
that's
don't
what they
have to
want.
buy anything at all. Yeah, it just makes it a part of the community. It's kind of giving back. Whereas, we could say that the Echo where you're able to sit in your house and you no longer even have to leave the house for, getting
remember, we have a
paper.
massive homeless problem in San Francisco.
I was just about to say,
wait till the
homeless people.
wait till the homeless people start coming in. Are they going to let them sit around? No.
Well, they just had a problem with that out here in Philly with Philly Jesus. Went to an Apple store and apparently he went on there on a day when there was a new manager. Somebody didn't know what was going on, but he goes in and charges his phone every day. He's a homeless guy that walks around dressed like Jesus. He has a big wooden cross. Everybody knows him. He's harmless. But they actually got him arrested, which did nothing but raise his profile, and he got to speak to more people about being Philly Jesus. To your point, I know I was yelling at you, but I'm kind of joking. They're doing it all to sell things and to make more money. Yeah, it's all marketing. Like I said, they're really great at marketing and evoking a feeling. Like I said, if you listen to the way she was talking, she was pleasant and she was happy, and it invigorated emotion in her. That's what they do. And as far as letting homeless people in, they need to, but I highly doubt they will.
Of course they're not.
I had that incident, my own incident with Apple in San Diego. What's that?
Forerunner.
Yeah, in LA. So Apple is, they're gonna have to tiptoe around that because that Philly thing got a lot of buzz out here, and people were upset because again, it's something that the guy did every day, and they actually let him go in there and charge his phone. They didn't do anything about him. I guess they have a time limit or something, how much time you can spend in the store if you're not doing something. So
I just think
they probably don't unless they probably noticed that he didn't look the way that they were hoping that he looked. So
well, that's kind of my point,
I've hung out for a full day in an Apple store. They said nothing.
Yeah, of course not. That's my point. Is that you're welcome as long as you're part of the cult, and you're kind of in the. But if you look like you're, a little weird, bye. I don't know. I just feel like it's nice. All right, it's fine.
Isn't that every store though? Isn't that every place you go to?
Yeah. No, it's fine.
If you don't have yourself put together, they kick you out.
Yeah,
or they don't want you in. They don't
Did you
serve
suddenly
you.
bring a tree?
I don't know. It's a
brought a
pussy
tree.
willow or something. I don't know. And then they got plants.
Suddenly, well, look at that. This place, it's already looking more welcoming.
See?
Wow.
Welcome to the Apple Grove.
Now we feel it. We feel it.
But yeah, I think it's great marketing. I think it's going to work well for them. I think that it's a nice idea to be able to have a store where it's not unwelcoming, and hopefully it'll be welcoming to everyone. I doubt that that'll be the case to that. But yeah, I like the idea of it just being open. You can just walk in. You don't have to worry. It's not going to be one of those stores where you feel like you go in and everyone's staring at you and you're not, able to enter there and be able to just chill out. And I think it'll be great for their branding. And yeah, they did this for marketing for sure.
Apple doesn't do that anyway. You just, there's people always in there playing with games and apps and stuff, and they're never really trying to sell you anything or help you with anything unless you ask them, because there's 42 million people just floating about. So it's already that. Again, it's just something else to market for them. Say, ooh, look what we're doing now, because you haven't come into an Apple store in the last 3 years and our numbers are down, and we're going to launch this new thing to get you back in.
I dropped my 3-year-old off at the iPad table, and I just go to work. And
Exactly.
The daycare.
Exactly. It's daycare. Daycare for the tech
Can we
adult.
do that? Can we do that as a Fox and Friends thing? Like, just set up some GoPros, and you just drop the kid off and just see how long it takes for. They're like, look, the kid's been here for 4 hours. Can we got a sippy cup or something? Like, somebody.
Notice.
Let's see how long they notice.
Minecraft. 4 hours.
Yeah,
This is fantastic. I got this much screen time.
I forgot. There was one more Google thing. What? There's one more Google thing I do want to mention is that they announced that Chromebooks are going to be running the Android store soon.
That's amazing.
I think that's interesting. Does that excite you, Owen?
That pleases me to no end, especially like if I can use Instagram on the computer, instead of having to use my phone. Oh, happy day! I'm buying me a new laptop ASAP.
It makes the Chromebook very interesting, and they did mention that it's selling more now than they sold last quarter. More Chromebooks were sold than Apple Macintoshes.
Well, they're probably selling a lot of those to schools and things like that.
They are. It's like it's the #1 computer in schools now. Yeah.
Yeah. Leah's school just got a whole new crop of them, and they used to have the old Dell desktop things that were just horrible, and then we just put all new Chromebooks. So everybody's got a Chromebook now. So I'm sure they're killing it in the educational market.
Yeah.
What is the future of Chrome OS?
Well, I feel like this is the future. In other words, more of the question is what's the future of Android in some ways, right? Because although I guess you still need Android for a touch device, a phone, or actually, here's what the question is, Clayton. What's the future for tablets? My wife Lisa was asking me this: are they going to still sell tablets if you can get Android apps on your Chromebook? What do you need a tablet for?
Because you don't want a keyboard and you want the touchscreen, you want the portability. I mean, having a Chromebook is cool and all, but the whole reason tablets are awesome is because I don't have a keyboard attached to it. When I'm on the go, I take my tablet. I don't dislodge my laptop. Even my Air. I got an Air sitting right here too.
Yeah.
I barely even take this thing out anymore unless I'm traveling.
Yeah.
You see, I'm the opposite. Now I don't use my tablet anymore because like my MacBook, it's like as thin and almost as light as a tablet, but I appreciate the keyboard. If I have to write, a long email, tapping on glass just does not do it for me, and I hate having to carry the tablets. Like they do have the light ones, but I liked having a trackpad. I just want it to be able to do all of it.
Yeah.
I want the touchscreen, the keyboard, it all there, and to be light and to be able to travel with it. So now I don't use my tablets at all.
Does it make a difference?
You have a touchscreen on your Apple, though. You don't have a touchscreen on your Apple.
I know. That's why I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. Help
we
me
were
out,
so
Apple.
in sync today, and then you had to go and ruin it.
Apple's never going to put a touch screen on
Sorry.
there. They don't want to.
Sorry.
They're already losing market share to the iPad.
Sorry.
It feels like there's more greenery than there used to be here. Am I wrong?
We've lost
like Liz
Leo.
Winstead
Where's
from
Leo?
The
It's
Daily
suddenly
Show.
Jurassic Park.
Leo
That's it.
LaForest.
We need-
Do you feel
Need a
better
hospital.
now, Owen? Are you feeling a little more at home in the Grove?
Do you know why I feel better? Because
Why?
the joy of my heart every time Georgia giggles when they put you on screen. Of course I feel better. She's my Chewbacca mom for right now, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it.
Wait a minute.
This week in Wiccan.
I'm not gonna be able to find Leo.
Actually, speaking of the Chewbacca mom, don't you have one of those masks, Clayton? Did you get it?
What?
Did you?
What?
Ah! 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 Oh my God, that's terrifying. Can you laugh maniacally for us?
Oh, it hurts.
Hey, Clayton.
It's a little too tight.
I love it.
Clayton,
I love it.
Can you wear the mask and go driving around
You
with
can't-
me so
by
we
the
can
way,
do
we
a
tried-
DWB experience?
We desperately tried to get those.
See, listen to her laugh. It's amusing.
I was drinking.
She's like the Chewbacca mom.
For people listening
I was
at home
drinking
right
water.
now,
I almost, like,
driving in
ruined
their
my
car.
laptop at the same time.
Leo just removed his shirt.
Well, I don't think that really explains the whole
Leo has removed his
the
shirt. into a
totality of the
forest.
experience. Frankly,
He looks like a the hair shampoo. What is it with the? It begins with an N. Yes.
naturally, nature's.
Taking a photo.
Yeah.
I gotta remember this moment. There we go.
What is that? What is that hair shampoo? Where the girl puts it on and she turns into a jungle and she's having like the time of her life.
Oh yeah, what is that? I know what you're talking about.
That's new.
Nature's
Oh my God.
Herbal essence.
Chat room.
herbal essence. Herbal essence.
Leo Laporte looks like he's in an herbal essence commercial, and he is waiting for the shower scene to start. He is
Irish
surrounded by
Spring.
flowers and trees and foliage and a microphone. He
I
is
agree.
a silver fox in the woods.
Dude, right now.
He is a silver
wanna
fox.
Where's
I
your
want to know
microphone?
what people that just tune in at this point do. They're gonna be like,
I
long
feel that I have now. I'm channeling Johnny Ive, and I really want to have kind of a twit glade, a twit forest. And by the way, you're laughing, but the entire studio audience is also disrobed.
Now who's running a foliage cult? They show up every Sunday. They got naked with you. You got plants all around. Welcome to the new twit cult.
this
There
is a
you
new
go.
twit.
It's the new
Twit
twit cult.
2.0.
So we're going to take a break.
Is this a Snapchat filter? I'm living in Snapchat. I feel like I'm living.
Now I
in
feel like I'm out of
I'm trying to. I just need Clayton to wear the mask and ride around the hood with me and see if we get a DWB show going on. Two brothers in the hood.
Two brothers in the hood. I'm
and
sorry.
Then we'll all go around, and then let's see if they pull you over.
It's the new thing, driving while Chewbacca. Yeah.
Just keep on going.
It's yeah. Very risky.
This is the Snapchat twit. The Snapchat filter.
I did. Did you know that I ordered a unicorn that farts rainbows? By the way,
Are you kidding?
no.
Toots
It was a
unicorn.
Kickstarter.
Toots.
Toots. You know about Toots? Toots.
I do.
Yeah.
I have a black
I have to
unicorn.
look up
I got
Toots
the
now.
golden one coming.
TOOTZ, right? The unicorn on Kickstarter, and it's tied to my Twitter account. So whenever anybody, I don't know, we can make it whatever we want. Like whenever anybody says something nice or whatever, it'll fart rainbows. Anyway, that goes right alongside my floating bonsai tree that I buy the stupidest stuff on
Please
Kickstarter.
visit Amazon.com to track or manage your orders.
Is that an echo in your pants?
Yes. I don't know what my staff has done to me, but it doesn't feel quite right. You know, Gazelle. Thank you. Gazelle. Gazelle is a great place to go, both to buy and to sell your gadgets. You know, if you have a bunch of gadgets sitting around, as we do in the basement, by the way, it's like putting $100 bills in drawers and chests and boxes, just letting them gather dust. You wouldn't do that. That would be crazy talk. Well, that's what you're doing if you're not going to Gazelle and selling your old gadgets. Go to gazelle.com right now and get a quote on your iPhone, your iPad, your Samsung, your Surface tablet, they Kindle tablets. They will give you top dollar. And by the way, there's no commitment. You go, you get a quote. You've got 30 days to take advantage of it. So you just find out. Just find out. Once you decide, I'm going to take advantage of this. And by the way, don't stop with one. Just get everything in there. You say, okay, I'm going to check out. They send you a box. They pay the postage on anything worth more than $1, which is almost everything. Even broken iPads and iPhones are worth something at Gazelle. And they will send you a box, and then they turn it around fast. If you forget to wipe your data, don't worry. They'll do that for you. They'll also check the quality. And sometimes, and this has happened to me now twice, they will up the offer. They said, no, that's whatever, better memory, more memory than you said, or it's better quality than you said. And they will up the offer, which is, they have no obligation to do so, but they do it. They're very honest. And you're going to get a great price. Then they'll send you a check, or if you want it right away, a PayPal credit, or if you're the savvy shopper, get an Amazon gift card, because they will bump that up by 5%. So it's an extra 5% for you. So that's how it works to sell at Gazelle. But you might ask, well, what happens to the stuff they buy. Well, the very best stuff they sell on Gazelle. So it's a great place to get slightly, gently pre-used, pre-owned devices. They sell iPhones, iPads, and Samsung devices at Gazelle. You can get an iPhone 6S, a 6S Plus, an iPad, Samsung Galaxy phone. Every one of them fully inspected, backed by a 30-day return policy, sold without carrier contract. But yes, of course, they work on all the major carriers in the U.S. 3, 6, or 12-month payments, too, now with Affirm, which is really nice. It's just a checkbox at checkout. Say, I want to finance this with Affirm, and they'll do that, too, for you. They also offer 12-month warranties on cell phones and iPads powered by Assurant Solutions. And these are great warranties. They cover water damage, cracked screens. It's awesome. Gazelle. To buy or to sell. Gazelle, Gazelle.com. Give it a try today, and we thank them so much for their support of This Week in Tech. We talked about Android on Google. That's going to on Chromebooks. That's going to come later this year. But if you have one of 3 devices, including the latest Chromebook Pixel, you can turn on developer mode and get that starting next month. I did that immediately. Stop taking pictures. And no, I'm just kidding. Take all the pictures you want. You want me to stand up?
Someone in the chat put an Herbal Essence logo over you.
Oh, that's the least of it. I like I'll have what Georgia's having. That looks good.
Well, my thought process was this show is the nightmares of a padded room, Georgia Dow in tech. This is what she
Georgia, this is your dream. None of this.
This now seems more like that.
Yes.
Yes, this is exactly what it is. I said it at the top, and we have morphed into your mind.
You're not going to remember any
and
of
I need
this.
out.
Hey, let me ask you, Georgia, because I know iMore's covered this. Apple has pulled back its iPad update. What was that? iOS 9.2.3, was it?
Yeah.
Because it was bricking iPads?
Yes. We didn't install. I wait till everyone else. I had to have a hat. I feel like I'm left out.
No, you look good. I think you're fitting in.
Clayton has Chewbacca.
Yeah, you got a hat.
Owen just has the eyebrows.
Owen's just Owen. Owen doesn't need to do more than that.
You look like you're about to go on the forest hunt for Uncle Leo.
I think so.
What you look like to me.
I think so.
Well, if he's in danger, I'll head on out. Yeah. So I always wait though. I always wait for any update till Renee has already vetted it for me, so I let it brick all of his stuff.
See, I put it on my iPad right away. It didn't do anything bad, my iPad. So I don't know. Anyway, they say a very small number of people have had that happen. But there you go. There's a fix on its way.
I never update my
Really?
stuff from the first update. Never. I stopped doing it. I had a problem 2 years ago with an update, so now I at least wait a week, see what rolls through, and then to get that secondary tier update. Because somebody was arguing with me. They're saying, "What? Apple has all this R&D. Why can't they fix this before they send it out?" And I said, well, the infinite multitude of things that are on people's phones, one app might affect the update, something else might affect the update that they can't plan for. So they do the best they can as a general surface. And then, 30% of the population has this goofy app that affects the update in this way. They patch it, they fix it. So it is what it is. I just let other people be my guinea pig. I don't need to be first on anything like that anymore. I don't want to have to deal with those issues.
What's the count, by the way, on that Facebook Live lady? How high did that go?
120 million.
Wow. In 2 days, right?
It was at 91 million yesterday morning.
You had her on, right?
Yeah, we had her on the show. Her name was Candace.
Is she normal or is she weird?
She's normal, and she's really, really sweet.
You can't ask that wearing a wig.
Who says I'm wearing a wig? Georgia, are you on something?
Really, really
I might
normal.
be. When I thought about what Twit would be like, it wasn't like this. This is so much
This
more
isn't your
awesome.
dream come true?
I think this is my dream. This is my favorite Twit so far. That's all I have to say.
So now, by the way, did Kohl's bring you that, Clayton? Because I tried to get one. You can't get them. They're sold out everywhere.
No, my son, this is my son's. So the other night, my producers texted me Friday night. They said, they know me because I'm the nerd guy.
They
right?
know
They're
you'd have one, right?
Do you have a Chewbacca mask? As a matter of fact.
As a matter of fact. I wish I did.
Doesn't.
My son had it up in his toy chest. He goes to bed 7:30, 8 o'clock. So he's up there fooling around. He should have been in bed. And I heard, I creep into his room and he's sitting there fooling around. And I'm like, "Hey, buddy, can I borrow your Chewbacca mask?" He's like, Daddy, why? I said, "I need to take it to work tomorrow." He's like, "Oh, why?" And I said, "Well, I'll tell you, I need to wear it on the show tomorrow." And he said, "Okay, is it going to be stuck in your office? Will you bring it back home?"
Oh, Miles.
So,
is
yeah, we
so
had her on.
cute.
She's totally normal. But, yeah, this is amazing. So this video has broken the record for the most watched video in Facebook history.
Wow.
And I didn't,
For live, right?
I would have thought.
Is it only
What's
for
that?
live? Isn't it only they broke the live?
Yeah.
The live record,
Probably.
Right. 90.
Yeah.
It was
live
over
record.
100 million last time I looked.
Yeah, this morning. It was
Yesterday morning
100.
it was 91. Now it's 120 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, Kohl's, you can't get publicity like this, a viral video like this. They gave her a whole bunch of masks and what was it, $500 in Kohl's cards. They really ought to give her more, if you ask me.
You know how much you know how much stuff you can get for $500 at Kohl's? You can shop for free.
I know.
Kohl's.
They gave her
$500.
what did they give her? Like 10,000 Kohl's points, which actually
Yeah,
is
and-
pretty good.
Yeah, and
They
gave
should
her
have
whole
a
bunch
year of
toys.
shop for free for that.
Yeah. So how much did Miles pay for that? Because it's now selling for $75 on eBay.
On eBay?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't. I think it was
I think
like
under 20
30?
bucks, right?
Yeah, 20 or 30.
Yeah.
He used his allowance and
Isn't that a
paid
starting
for
bid? That's not the final bid, right? That's the buy. That's not.
No,
the
it's a buy it
now.
now bid. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
They've sold more than 49%, it says.
I'm surprised that it took.
Oh, wait a
this-
minute. The postage is
Remember-
$15.
Remember during the holidays, they had that commercial, that Target commercial that showed it, where the dad and the son had them on together.
I don't
Yeah.
remember that. Somebody's making some money on these. Hasbro. It's a Hasbro product.
Yeah, and it's
It just shows you you can think as long and hard as you want, and making a viral video cannot be. Yeah, this is the actual video. You probably shouldn't show it too long because people are getting really sick of it. But it's very funny. She puts the mask on and she laughs. If you haven't seen it, if you're one of the 5 people who hasn't seen it, she laughs uproariously for minutes. And it was. Did you ask her, Clayton? She wasn't trying to make a viral video.
no. She was just, she was buying this. She thought she loved Star Wars. She was sending this to her friends. She just wanted to see what her friends' reaction was, and so she was live, interacting with her friends, and she's like, well, I'm going to put this on, and she just thought it was hilarious seeing herself like in the mirror, and she just thought it looked ridiculous, and it just exploded. I asked her, what the response has been, and people have just been writing her like this crazy nice stuff. Like her one woman said her autistic daughter hasn't laughed in years, and this is the first time that she's laughed. Like those types of things. Like one person said, I've been suffering from depression and anxiety, and this was the first thing that made me laugh. And she's like, we just need more laughter in this world. And that was like her message. And I was like, that's great. It's exactly what we need.
What's cool is she just laughs. Go show a little bit of it. And it's a genuine. Georgia, we were talking about this. It's a genuine laugh.
Yeah.
You don't feel like it's fake.
No.
But you can't.
Just
You
like
couldn't.
pure joy.
Yeah, you couldn't make that up. I mean, you couldn't invent that, could you? You couldn't say, "Oh, let's make it." Kohl's couldn't say, "Let's make a viral video like that."
No, people try, and then there's
Yeah.
such a backlash when people find out that it's viral, like they've been duped.
Yeah, I hate
There's
that.
something nice about.
I think a
the
lot of people
genuineness.
thought this was fake, actually.
The other story here is Facebook Live. And of course the Facebook news this week, but Facebook Live now being ubiquitous instead of it just being like celebrities and tied to their pages and so forth. The real push into live video for Facebook, what it means for businesses, what it means for individuals. Where Periscope I don't think really ever got the traction that something like Facebook could have. And YouTube, quite frankly, doesn't have the gravitas that Facebook Live is probably going to have.
Are you
well,
guys, is
because-
Fox considering doing a lot of Facebook stuff?
Before shows, after shows, I know one of our weekday guys, he does radio for 3 hours after he gets off of the morning show. And so he'll kind of do live. I know he's a workhorse. So he'll do like a Facebook Live before he goes on the air, kind of like teasing what's coming up and sort of interacting. And so there's a lot of that. I do 4 hours of live TV. And so the last thing I want to do is like jump on and do extra things later. But I think there's definitely the traffic that our pages get is just through the roof. I mean, it's bonkers.
So it really
and
works. Yeah.
It really works, and because it's tied to Nielsen ratings. You have to remember it's weighted, right? It's not a 1-to-1, so viewership to social media interaction, but obviously the social media interaction, Facebook and Twitter and so forth, is weighted in all of that. So it's possible for shows that don't have as much of a viewership to then capitalize on their social media following and help them in their overall Nielsen ratings.
How is it? So I don't understand how it's tied to Nielsen ratings.
Well, Nielsen, I don't know the exact.
What are you laughing at?
Down.
I'm sorry.
What?
Guys, Clayton.
You didn't just think something weird happened, did you? Like, were
Was
you
this a
seeing?
Midsummer Night's Dream?
I'm still checking the
Midsummer Night's
walls. I'm
Dream?
good.
What happened to Puck?
Get the puck out of here. So, I know that movie companies, for instance, are paying stars more if they have a larger Twitter following, although that seems to me kind of dumb, but they do, right? That this is because it's seen as such a huge marketing tool.
Well, it's not dumb because they're
Well, if they're
leveraging
real,
themselves.
if it's
And
real.
it's not. So first of all, it's more real than anybody else is going to be real because enough dummies want to know what the Kardashians are doing over what the president of the United States is doing.
Well,
so
that's true.
let's just start off with that. It's real, okay?
Yeah.
It's real.
But
so when Kevin Hart
some
comes
people
in,
buy their Twitter followers.
Well, that's what I mean. Is that
again,
Yeah,
I'm
there's a whole
talking
bunch
about-
of people that have 50,000 Twitter followers.
We're not out of the bubble into the real world. We're talking about superstars and celebrities and the money they get paid because they're their own marketing company.
Right.
So, case in point, Kevin Hart has 34 million people. He goes into the negotiations.
He has
for-
34 million
I
followers?
don't know what it is.
Oh,
He's got
okay.
a lot of followers. It's
Right.
high. It's really high.
It's
like,
high.
It might even be that number.
Yeah.
So he goes into a deal and he says, all right, I want to get paid this for the movie. How much additional are you going to give me for marketing? And they said, well, why would we give you anything for marketing? He's like, well, you have a marketing budget, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, on my last movie, I drove this X of numbers to videos and promos and things that I'm going to be doing. And that's extra out of my time. So if you're going to pay a promotional company, I got more than this fake promotional PR company that you got going on, and I'm the product. So why not pay me that? And at first they snubbed him. He said, all right, well, I'm not going to work with you. Then they came back, they paid him the money, and guess what? Him and the cast do things like where they go and they buy a whole movie theater or a city tickets and pay for all their tickets and then go sit down with them. They watch the movie and they pop up and Kevin Hart's like, oh, how'd you like the movie? Everybody gets a picture take with him and the other cast members are all over the city doing it. There's promotion that's real and organic that they could do as opposed to the stupid, 4 out of 8 people said that the dinosaur
you're right.
was a real dinosaur. So again, celebrities have real numbers and they can rule real units. Like it's a legit.
By the
thing.
way, you were right on. This is Kevin Hart's page. He's got almost 30 million, almost exactly 30 million followers. And look at the big ad for his latest. But you know what's the funniest thing? There's a fake Kevin Hart who has 1 million followers.
It's good to be fake.
It's just the overflow traffic.
He
People
gets
think
the
they're
overflow.
Well, to answer your question, Nielsen rolled out their social content ratings. I think it was last year, 2015, but it was just Twitter.
Interesting.
Twitter. And then in January of this year, Nielsen rolled out, they added Facebook content.
Yeah.
So during programs, what they're saying is like obviously 60% of people who are watching these programs are sitting there with some sort of tablet or device while they're watching these shows and they're interacting with them. They're on Facebook. And if you like the Phillies or something like that, if there's a Phillies game that's live, it allows you to interact in that way. But they're looking at the overall tweets, mentions, replies, likes, engagement during those programs, and then of course these Nielsen social content ratings are weighted in your overall Nielsen ratings. So you can look at that. If you're a show that doesn't maybe have as much viewership, but you've got a really rabid fan base online on Facebook who people are jumping in and really talking about your show live, that can be really powerful to help move the needle.
Very interesting.
And he's got 35 million on Instagram.
Wow.
Like I said, and when you look at his videos or whatever, his Central Intelligence has 645,000 views.
I have to think a lot. I mean, yes, of course, probably half of those are spammers and bots and stuff. But that's still, even if it's half, 15 million
Again, and
is a significant number.
And there are people that are directly plugged into the content.
Yeah.
People watching Twit right now don't care about me. They're here for you. I'm just a byproduct of joy, enlightenment, and
no, they're here for you. Don't make no mistake about that.
Man, look, I'm the only adult here today, so I'm going to take it when I can get it. Because normally it's me with the cow god take me away and the mask and the wigs and the hair snaps. So today is my day to be an adult, and I'm so happy to be it.
It's overrated. It's overrated, Owen.
Oh yeah.
Truly.
Oh yeah.
I got all the pictures with the Jordan LaForge mask. And did you
That's
see that?
true. That was a
Uncle
good
Leo?
picture.
When I was yelling to you about VR and I put the headphones on, and then somebody
like
made
that.
the headphones with the.
I didn't see
using
that.
it?
No.
Yeah,
That was
there's
great.
a headset with micro. It's like
That's when you were on Twit last time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you tilt it down. Somebody's like, "You are from the future, oh doctor." Somebody made that thing you were joking about. I'm like, see, it's all in here.
Hey, do you think Kevin Hart tweets for himself, or does he have a social media team?
He tweets for himself.
That's the key. If I look at people like Trump. Isn't that interesting? Clearly, Trump's writing his own tweets.
He is definitely
You wouldn't
writing
pay.
his own
You wouldn't
tweets.
pay somebody to write those.
No.
Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, the people who really do work it do better, don't they, than the people who fake it?
Yeah.
Well, people want to be a part of this. This is great. It builds community, and when people feel a
And
part
how
of
hard is it?
something, then they're going to spend more money towards those products, like the Apple Store.
And it's not hard to do. I mean, after all, it's just 140 characters.
Well, there's a lot of replies. I open up my Twitter when there's like something happening, and I get if I have like 35 people replied to me being Canadian, I want to reply to everyone.
You're
I
nice.
find slightly overwhelmed. Yeah, I don't have that many people. So
Is
it's not that
Snapchat?
hard.
Snapchat's being used that way too, isn't it? By the movie stars. Hart has a Snapchat.
Yeah, everybody's snapping.
Yeah. George Takei is the counterexample, right? I mean, he's a fun. That's an interesting example because he's fun to follow, but it's clearly, and they even say it, it's his team, and they're finding a lot of viral videos. So you follow him because of the content, but it doesn't really build his brand, does it?
It does. It still does. Okay, so being organic is great and all. The whole world isn't Kevin Hart charismatic. And
True.
some people need help with certain
True.
things. So if you have a good team that curates things that are about you and that are on message, people are fine with that too. What they don't like is you got a robo tweet coming out that says, hey, I learned how to bake 12 cookies yesterday, and there was a mass shooting 15 seconds ago, and you're on this Autobot just tweeting out stupid stuff.
Yeah.
That's what people
There's
don't like.
the real
Don't
risk.
like-
Yeah.
That's the difference when you find that. I have no problem with you having a team, Romney, Malco, or whoever, or he's doing it himself or whoever's doing it. But I just want it to be you, authentic, at least in your team. So you said, okay, this is what we're going to do. I approve this. I approve that. But when you're just automating everything and you got random stuff coming at it all kinds of times, that's what people don't like. It's disingenuous and you get caught very quickly.
Yeah, and if you're upfront about it, then people are cool about it. If you're saying that I'm replying to this and then they figure out that you're not, then people feel really angry because they feel betrayed.
Yep.
All right, let's take a little bit of a break. Gosh, this is fun. I'm loving this. Clayton Morris is here from Fox and Friends. What are you up to these days, Clayton? You've got the new financial thing, right?
Yeah, well, actually about an hour ago, I tried to time it with tonight because I was ramping up. I thought, oh, with Twit, it'd be a perfect time to launch it. I just launched a brand new real estate investing podcast.
Nice.
Just tonight. It's called Investing in Real Estate with Clayton Morris. And I've been.
How did
building
you
a
get
real
into
estate
this? This
investing-
seems like something very different for you.
Well, about 5-6 years ago, I started buying rental properties, like $35,000, $40,000, 3-bedroom, 1-bath houses that cash flow like $800
Are they
a month.
fixer-uppers or?
Yeah, so I totally gut rehab the house and
Wow.
have a great tenant. You have a whole team that.
Do you do that, or you have people that do that?
Well, I oversee the company, and then I have my whole team that does it. And so now we do about 20 houses a month. And
What?
Yeah, so in the Midwest states. And
Wait a minute. How many houses do you have?
Well, I mean, I sell them a lot to my clients.
So you flip them too.
Yeah, but I flip them. So I've many. I've.
It's not just
customers
rental
all over.
properties. You'll flip them as well.
Yeah, and so I talk about I'm passionate about buy and hold investing. I really think it's like the number one way to build wealth in this country, legacy wealth for your family, and instead of like relying on, hoping that your 401k is going to be there. The average 401k is $70,000 when people retire. So the
Isn't that
podcast
sad?
is
Yeah.
really just totally devoted to buy and hold real estate. That's it. Is we focus on how to start when people think they have no money. There's so much private money out there people who want to earn like 5% interest, do a 5-year note.
Is it like value investing where you're kind of you're not looking for real estate in New York City, obviously?
No. So I'm in the Midwest where you can get a high ROI. Like I won't touch a house unless I can do a minimum 12% return cash on cash for the year. Minimum 12%. Like in the stock market, people are moving and buying like
you're not gonna
utility
get
stocks right now at like 4% return if you're lucky. So that's what and then by the way, you're building like assets for yourself, and it's actually passive income. Like every month you're if you have one rental house, okay, $800 a month, then double that, $1,600.
Right.
And that's how you figure out.
Aren't you consumed with? I mean, how do you have time to? Don't you have to manage these properties? I mean,
No, I have a whole team. So my property management team that manages all the properties, does all tenant screening.
So the
everything.
12% you're making, a lot of that's going to end up going to your team.
No, that's minus 40% for vacancy repairs and expenses. So really, it's closer to like 30%. But I take that out. So you want to take out 40%. Not to get all financial.
I gotta get my wife listening to this podcast. Where can I
start listening to the podcast?
Where can I find this podcast?
So it's in iTunes. We just launched, and it's all over the place. Google Play. We got it approved everywhere. So it's just investing in real estate. I try to keep it very accessible. So we'll have case study episodes with newbie investors, guys that own like one rental property. I interview those people. I have some experts on as well, like some great finance experts, like Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, which is, by the way, you should like be structuring your whole business around the way that he implements finance. And then also just monologue episodes where I'm just talking about my strategies, things that have worked for me, how I've been able to buy, 15 properties and so forth, and build like this, portfolio of properties for my family and to help others do it. So many clients started with me 3 years ago, had 0 properties, now I have 15. And I love watching people like overcome their fears and face their fears and actually start to take action and and build something for their family. Most of my clients, I swear to God, overwhelmingly have just like had a baby, or they just stopped being selfish, because they're not single anymore and they have a baby for the first time, or they're a new dad. And now that's the thing where they start thinking about, well, wait a second, how can I start doing something important for my family? So anyway, not to derail things.
This is good. Even if someone's never done this before, they can listen to the podcast to know if they should, what they need to get ahead beforehand.
Exactly. I try to keep it as, because I had a lot of fears of money growing up. So like money doesn't grow on trees.
Did you grow up poor?
Middle class, but I had a lot of memes, and I think a lot of people suffer from this stuff, thinking like money doesn't grow on trees. We're not the Rockefellers. That's something we can't afford that. All of those things were implanted. So be careful the way you talk about money with your kids, because it stays with them.
Right.
And so I talk a lot about that too, trying to overcome those things and trying to, I'm really passionate about trying to talk to inner city kids as well, and because they're just thinking that you have to get a paycheck, like that's the way you build wealth, and it's absolutely not the way you really build wealth in this country. Going and getting a paycheck is not the way you do it.
So I had this thought. So the government owns a naval base in Sugar Grove Station in Pendleton County, West Virginia. It's 100 miles south of D.C., 122 acres. It's got a town. It's got 80 single-family homes. It's $1 million. What if I bought that and fixed it up?
There you go. See, there's so much private money out there right now.
By the way, this is in something the government calls the radio-free zone. You can't use a cell phone. You can't watch TV. You can't do.
Is build a resort there. Like, be like, look, come here. You have to unplug. You're forced to unplug.
Yep.
Make it a feature. It's NSA free.
No, it's not. That's why it's a radio-free zone. The NSA just over the hill has its listening station. Literally.
Actually, I think they've got aliens buried in the basement, and their signal is blocking all signals from space.
Probably the good thing is that they're not going to listen to you, because there's nothing coming out of you. You're radio-free. It's so they can hear everybody else.
Yeah.
I wanted to go and do a segment there. I saw that story
Isn't that
a few years ago. And nothing works there. I thought.
Nothing works.
I mean, I bought this house. I made sure when I was standing in this house that we just moved to that I had good LTE coverage here. Otherwise, I would probably not have bought it.
I know. $1 million, you can get an entire town. There's only one flaw. It's beautiful, by the way. There's only one flaw. There's no electronics.
It's not a flaw. He just gave you the $1 million.
I know, it's the plan, isn't it?
You turn it into a nudist retreat. You put some plants up in an Apple store.
I got the plants,
and you're good to go. And that's it.
Leo's already halfway there.
I'm there, man. I'm there.
Yeah, you're golden. I mean, also just to reinforce what Clay was talking about, I was just talking to a friend about holding paper and stuff like that for buying houses, and it's amazing all the stuff you can learn. So you definitely got a listener of me.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any reviews yet. I have literally no reviews. There's 3 episodes, and so I would be thrilled if the
listen
Twit
and review Clayton's show.
Would this still work though if we all did it? I mean,
it's the thing that
of course.
So it always works. Just as a layman, from what my cousin, who was telling me about holding paper, he bought like 4 blocks in Detroit, and he got them for like $4,000 a piece. Like he got a whole block with like 6 houses on it. And the taxes and properties are so cheap. He went and he fixed them up, and now he's renting them out to people who don't have a lot of money, some through HUD and things like that. But he's renting things out for like $750. But his
Right.
mortgage on that house is only $100 a month. So he's got 20 houses right now, and he's making $500 a month on all these houses.
I just want people to stop thinking that, like, oh, I've got a crappy credit score. And, you know, we have our self-worth tied to this artificial number in this country, credit score. You go to other countries that don't even have credit scores.
Yeah.
You could fly to Finland and they don't even have a credit score, I don't think. So you're like, what, your self-worth goes up because you took a plane ride to another country? So you don't have to be tied to like traditional banks, which are the worst, and using like a credit score to build wealth, like Owen was talking about. There's so many creative ways to do it.
I have my own financial freedom plan. I'd like to share it with you. I'm going to sell T-shirts at just about break even. But I'm going to make it up in volume.
I'm buying one right now.
Our new Twit T-shirts are here. We call them the 2016 World Tour tees because they have on the back of them, they have the kind of all the Twit shows. It kind of looks like a World Tour tee. These are nice. We get a variety of different styles. So there's ladies as well as men's. There's a V-neck because Lisa insists. You can check it out. Teespring, TWESPRING.com/twit. I'm kind of proud of these. Lisa said, how much should we charge? I said, how much do we make? She said, nothing. I said, then don't charge very much. Make it $20. So these are inexpensive, practically at cost. I think a couple of bucks per shirt.
Do you sell the hoodies?
No, we don't. This is the whole idea, is that every 30 days we do something completely different. And it's, if we're creating false scarcity. And 3 weeks, you won't be able to buy this ever again. So
Can
if
we partner and do the Twit
grab 'em now.
Incognito shirt?
Yeah. Incognito is in, man. It's our next shirt.
There we go.
And actually, since we're moving out of here, it's okay if they firebomb us, right? Okay. That's Owen J.J. Stone. Oh, Doctor, what are you up to these days?
Just living the dream, trying to be like you when I grow up. That's why I got my studio set up so I'm looking all handsome and fresh so I can come in and dominate and be a little Leo in the world with a tan.
IQMZ is going to be
trees.
the place, right? That's going to be where everybody's going to go.
Talking about sports and life and all kinds of stuff. I can't talk about tech unless I'm like here yelling at people.
Yeah.
I tried to do it.
No, it's been done. Why would you?
A lot of stuff makes me so angry.
reinvent
I get
the
mad at
wheel.
a lot of the tech stuff that we have to deal with every day.
Yeah.
I'm not in the bubble. It doesn't make me happy all the time.
Yeah. And, we love it. IQMZ.com if you want to get mental with Odocta. Mental entertainment. And
I got
don't
to interview you again, Uncle Leo. You should
I'd love to
come
do
on
it.
the podcast
Anytime.
with me.
You got it. I'm yours. You're mine, I'm yours. It's kind of a mutual thing. And Georgia does a great series of videos at anxiety-videos.com. She does it with her partner, Sandra Reich. This is a great place, too, to get their sleep series and the parenting series. It's all here. Get the sleep you've always dreamt of. See, everybody's got a little something going on. $10, $59.99 Canadian, which is like $10 American, I think.
Something like
Something
that.
like
Yeah.
that.
Well, a lot of people don't want to go in to do therapy. They'd rather do it from their home. And so it gives some people some tips, tricks, and how to live a better life and, deal with fear of failure or abandonment or whatever other issues that you have. So, yeah.
See, these guys are all great. They all got their own little thing going on. I got my T-shirts. It's all going to be great.
Entrepreneurs.
Try it. Just try something.
We had a lot of fun this week because not only we have Google I.O., but I'll tell you what, we made a little short movie about the week gone by on Twit. Why don't you watch?
Previously on Twit.
Very excited because we did get one of the Google Home devices. No, we didn't. That's a Glade Fresh Air. Another thing geeks don't like, fresh air.
Twit Live Specials.
Hey, I'm Ron Richards, and welcome to a Twit special at Mobile Focus World Showcase in San Francisco. Super excited to talk to some awesome companies with some really exciting technology based around the mobile world.
This is a smart fabric that's called Tap, and it turns anything that you touch into a keyboard.
These are made from vegan leather.
They do feel very comfortable for vegan headphones.
Triangulation.
Our guest today is Richard Marks. He is a senior research engineer with PlayStation. Whoa, hey, jeez. Somebody's shooting at me. That's not good. So this is it feels to me like a classic PlayStation game. I mean, It's got that experience. Whoa, hello.
This
Joel
week in
Gibbons
Google.
on that. I think the Google Home is very interesting, too. This is basically a speaker to take on the Amazon Echo.
One thing that we're not going to get, from what I understand, right out of the gate is multi-account capability.
We've just broken Jeff's heart. He's like,
okay, Jeff? And, Google, can't you fix this?
Twit, now also available in several colors of unapologetic plastic.
oh, look, just for you. I don't want this anymore. You want an Amazon Echo? I'm so over. Going to be a good week ahead, too. Megan Maroney has the week ahead.
Thank you, Leo. Here is what's coming up this week on Tech News Today. Xiaomi's first drone will be unveiled on May 25th. We've heard rumors that it'll have 4K video recording, and you'll be able to control it with a watch, but who knows? The Chinese company will unveil the quadcopter in a live stream this week, and we will bring that directly to your eyeballs or to your ears. What else? Apple says they'll end support for iTunes allowances this week. That's also happening on May 25th. Apple says after this date, any unused allowance credit will be rolled over into your basic iTunes account, so you better figure out a better way to pay off your kids for scooping dog poop. Also coming up this week, earnings for HP and the IEEE Women in Engineering International Leadership Conference in San Jose, the annual Go-To Software Developers Conference in Chicago, and the Cloud Foundry Summit in Santa Clara. Oh, and this Thursday is also National Paper Airplane Day. I did not make that up.
Yes.
You can catch all of this week's Tech News on Tech News Today, hosted by Jason Howell and myself. That's 4 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. Back to you, Leo.
Thank you so much, Megan Maroney and Jason Howell, Monday through Friday, for your daily dose of tech news. Our show today brought to you by Audible.com. They have updated the count now 250,000, more than 250,000 downloadable titles, all kinds of literature, fiction, nonfiction. I listen to a lot of history. I know, Clayton, you were listening, or maybe you read it, the Ron Chernow Hamilton biography. Loved that. That was awesome. Excellent. There's just so much great stuff on here. I kind of alternate fiction and nonfiction. So I listen to a fiction book and a nonfiction book. Here's the deal. I'm going to get you 2 books. You see, I have 2 credits, so this is fun. I always look forward to my renewal date on Audible.com because I'm like, oh, I got 2 credits. What can I get? Go to Audible.com/twit2. That's twit and the number 2. And sign up for the Platinum Plan. That's the 2-book-a-month subscription. But your first month is free. So you get 2 books. You get the Daily Digest of the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times as well. And cancel anytime in that first 30 days. You'll pay nothing, but those books are yours to keep. There's so much good stuff. Clayton, are you listening to anything you want to plug? Reading anything you like?
Well, because I'm a real estate freak, if someone is honestly interested in that realm, there's some great audiobooks on Audible that you've got to check out. I mean, I think one of them is The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller, who built Keller Williams Real Estate. He wrote it before the crash, but had people actually paid attention to what he said, we probably wouldn't have the crash. And it's really like the foundation of everything that I do in real estate. It's a fantastic book.
He's
really
written a lot of books. I didn't realize this. Look at this.
This book, though, is really, really excellent, and it walks you through that. And I'm also a huge fan of the audio version of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've mentioned that to you before, but such a great book. If you've not read, one of the greatest books in business ever written, and really will wrap your brain around how to think about, like, if you grew up thinking about money or struggling with those ideas like I did, and sort of shifting that mental paradigm, it's a great Audible book. Those 2 I listen to like once a year. Great books on Audible.
Great summer reading, too. Lots of good fiction. I just interviewed Ashley Vance, the author of Elon Musk, the unauthorized biography, although he tells a great story about meeting Elon and how Elon changed his tune about that. It's a really, really good book. Lisa and I have been listening to this together as we walk. Another thing you could do. See, the thing is, Audible's great for your commute, but there's other ways you can use it. In the gym, Lisa and I like to take walks, take hikes, and we'll listen to a book together as we're doing that.
How do you do that? With it, like shared earbuds?
She thought that was a good idea until I realized that her pace is like 10 times faster than mine. So now she just puts it on the speaker, and we just scare the deer as we're walking through the woods. And I can listen. I go, slow down, wait, I can't hear. But it's fun. She's I don't know what it is, but I think, Georgia, women walk faster than men. I do think that's true.
It depends on the pace. Everyone's a little bit different to that.
I don't know.
It depends on your stride level and where you feel good. So she's probably just really fit and
that
to walk fast.
Yeah. There's some good fitness books on Audible as well, by the way. Audible.com/twit2. Get your first 2 books absolutely free. Audible.com/twit2. We thank them so much for their support. They've been a support. I think we were the first podcast in the world to have Audible on as a sponsor, and they've been a sponsor with us for many, many years. But I've been a subscriber for longer than that, since 2000, since before podcasts existed. All right, we can kind of wrap things up. I do want to mention that BitTorrent has a new Apple TV app, BitTorrent Live. This is kind of intriguing. They are including Twit on it. So another way to watch Twit on your Apple TV is to get the BitTorrent app. They also have other networks, equally cheesy networks. So that's good. We're all in the same boat. You might want to check it out, BitTorrent Live. It is free, and it is on your Apple TV. Let's see, what else is going on? I want to get all the little bits here. The Moto G. Are they going to do... Were you a Moto X fan, Clayton? I feel like you were.
Yeah, I had a Moto X, yeah. That was... I carried that and my iPhone in my pocket for a long time.
Loved the Moto X.
Yeah.
And I feel like Moto... Of course, Lenovo bought them. It's interesting because Rick Osterloh, the guy who really, I think, was the guy who you can give a lot of credit to their success for, stayed with Motorola after Google bought him, stayed a little bit longer after Google sold him, but now he's moved over to Google, which is interesting. He's be running Google hardware division, which means Rick will be in charge of the new Google Home, among other things. Lenovo has decided they're going to really go all in on the less expensive Moto G family. They've got 3 of those. And I've seen some talk about a Moto Pure, which is an interesting idea. They made the Moto X Pure. The reason they're calling it the Moto Pure is it's going to be a pure Google experience. It's not going to have any other stuff on it. And I think there's a market for that in Android, especially with the Android N coming soon. People are going to want to be able to get the latest versions of Android software. Western Digital bought SanDisk. Don't know what that means. The hard drive market has just collapsed into just a handful of companies. $16, get ready for this, $billion. SanDisk, of course, makes SSDs and flash cards that are probably the premier flash cards in the market. $16 billion.
And the Facebook news this week.
What's that?
Well, a meeting.
Oh, yeah. Glenn Beck. Oh, this was really a surprise. So Facebook, after getting accused of steering its trending topics away from conservative stories, denying it, of course, and there was only one anonymous curator of trending news that claimed it. And I don't think there's a lot of evidence that Facebook was doing that, although their algorithms are not as automated as one would think. There are humans involved, and, of course, human judgment means there'd be bias as well. But
there's a little something to that when,
you think so?
They come out and say, we don't have people do anything. And then the very next day,
they do.
Well,
yeah.
We have some people doing something. So that's a smoke screen in itself. So when you put it in, there's only one person. It only takes one person to snitch.
True.
For it to be somewhat of the truth. So
took this that's a very good point. And they took this very seriously because the meeting, I had a couple of close friends who were at the meeting. And when, you walk in and Sheryl Sandberg is there, Zuckerberg is there, Peter Thiel is there. They were taking this very seriously, and they admitted as much. They said, "Look, this is not perfect. This is in beta. There's a couple of different products at play here. Obviously, the trending topics on the right sidebar is different from the news feed, but yes, it's not perfect."
And so unexpected, because Glenn Beck, the conservative pundit who was also there, lambasted the other conservatives there for a witch hunt. He said, what disturbed me about the Facebook meeting, and it wasn't what you would think about it at all. He said, we are really kind of lynching Facebook.
Well, look at Glenn Beck, right? He's had to lay off 40 employees. His company's basically going under, his network. Mm-hmm. And maybe he sees an opportunity to be amongst billionaires and to say, you know what? Hey, is Facebook interested in some sort of olive branch? Maybe wants to buy the Blaze. Maybe we could, get some sort of streaming partnership involved here. Kind of come up with some ideas. It was odd. I don't know. I found that moment odd.
So you think he parted ways with his conservative colleagues on this? That this was maybe an attempt to curry favor with the other guys?
I think that was the sentiment that came out of the room. certainly, that they were
Interesting.
sort of in shock that he was like kissing up to them as much as he was. That was certainly the news that had come out of that room.
He said it was, this is the quote, it was like affirmative action for conservatives. When did conservatives start demanding quotas and diversity training and less people from Ivy League colleges? I sat there looking around the room at our side, in quotes, wondering, who are we? Who am I?
Well, the real question is, who are you? You're anybody that could be bought for anything, to which that's not any meaning.
Okay.
So when your ship is sinking and you see somebody coming by with a cruise liner, for the Lord's sake, yes, you're going to be down with the cruise liner, and you'll say anything to get aboard that boat. But little do you know, we already know he's a zombie and the living dead, and they're not going to let him on that boat. But at least he tried. I can't knock the man for a valiant effort to say, hey, do you want to have more conservatives on? If you guys promote me and the Blaze, then nobody can really ever say that you're squandering people's insanity, because obviously, if you're showing me, you back insanity.
Well, there's no doubt at all that we have to be that both Facebook and Google, and to a lesser degree Twitter, carry a huge amount of responsibility. That, they could, for instance, easily throw the election one way or the other, should they decide to. I think in every case, these companies really want to toe the line, don't they, Clayton? Or do you not think that that's the case?
Toe the
line's the wrong phrase. Go right down the middle.
Right, and I think that's what came out of this meeting was, look, what we want is the way that I understood it from the people who are in the room were saying is that Zuckerberg explained, if we allowed for truly the algorithm to do its job, that's it, no human sort of curation of what is really a trending topic, also what is appropriate for the news feed, the clickable, shareable things. He said lunch would be a trending topic every day at noon, because that's what people are always typing in. So every day at noon, the word lunch would be the top trending topic. Okay.
Is there anything wrong with that?
Well, Twitter tried that, right? Until they started moving into Twitter moments and realizing that, well, does anyone want to see all of these random hashtags that are always populating?
But isn't it really risky if they start curating it? Because bias will, in either direction, will come in.
Right. And it's apparent that whether or not this is true, that, one sort of liberal on the algorithm panel or whatever was just kind of trying to keep things off of that trending topic list in a way.
Maybe not even intentionally, just unconsciously. That's where your biases sneak in. They're unconscious.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and we all have them. Like,
there's nobody
that's going to be curated by humans is going to have bias. You try to do an impartial news story, you're still coming at it from a certain end. I do therapy. I have to always check out my unconscious biases that may come in to therapy by my own views of the way that I'm going to deal with it. I think that, unfortunately, the AI is still, we need to have something that's going to be overlooked by humans. If not, it's going to be really dull, and trending topics will no longer be useful and no one's going to look at them. But I think that it is something that we need to be checking for. But yeah, to think that anything is going to be completely unbiased is impossible to achieve in the first place. So, they have to take a look at it. And I think that, good for Glenn Beck for jumping on at the perfect moment where, you end up supporting me, and that'll show that you are definitely not biased. So I think that was just a smart move on his social engineering.
And Facebook should have made a statement similar to that. Again, it's the biggest thing when these companies sit around with these expert panels, these PR people, and they don't know how to tell the truth and to be honest, and they come up with their schemes and their plans, knowing that everything comes out at the end of the day. If they would have made any kind of remote to close statement that she said, hey, sometimes we make bias, we have a panel, we're going to look into it, people accept that. But when you come out and say, no humans, and then the next day you say, well, 10 humans, you just lose all trust factor. I don't care about anything you're saying after that. Because you're in your mind lying.
Yeah, that's it's a great point. And one of the other things that came out of this meeting was the idea of diversity, and this idea that, well, if you're going to have 21-year-olds out of Silicon Valley all sort of curating this news, then it's going to be groupthink. And so Glenn Beck was blasting the other conservatives in the room for sort of calling for diversity. Since when did we start talking about quotas and all these sorts of things? And the other conservatives in the room were saying, we're not talking about just skin color here. Like, that diversity is actually deeper than ethnicity.
Oh, yeah. Heaven forfend you to talk about skin.
Well, I mean, but Susan Rice, for crying out loud, national security advisor for President Obama, saying, look, the national security team, it's all, typically white, male, go to Yale. And so maybe not the white part so much is as important as that sort of group Yale think. Right. Like, what if you had different viewpoints across the country that were influencing this news feed or what's being curated? Mm-hmm. So those sort of institutional biases, but then also that life experience bias might be completely different if you live in Dayton, Ohio, than you do San Francisco.
This is the problem when you have, and I think this has happened, Facebook moved from a social network into media.
Right. And one of the biggest in the world.
Yeah, and very powerful overnight.
That's the thing that drives me crazy about Facebook. Facebook is playing this chicken and the egg game of when something goes wrong, oh, well, we're not media. But then they live the rest of their lives force-feeding the ultimate media down your throat.
Right.
And again, when you talk about a diversity panel, what's a diversity panel? Are you going to have one person in every state of each ethnicity and each generation? So you need a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old.
Let's be fair, though.
And then how are you going to figure out?
Facebook's financial interest is in not leaning one way or the other, but getting you to read more Facebook. That's all they really care about. They're completely agnostic. It should be if they're going to do their business right? So they should show liberals liberal stuff. They should show conservative stuff.
In a perfect world,
here's the other thing. Well, go ahead, Owen.
No, that's it. That's what I was going to say.
In a perfect world, which it's not.
Well, I was going to say, also part of this, the idea that the news feed needs to be curated, and I mean, you're curating it yourself, right? By the people. If you, for instance, if you only watch like MSNBC, that's the world you live in, right? You're going to probably have friends that are like that, and so those are the pages you're going to like. That's going to pop up in your news feed. It's going to reinforce your own world beliefs, your own world biases, right? If you have a conservative viewpoint, you might click on and like certain things. You might have libertarian views, whatever that happens to be. You might like Gary Johnson. You might like, who knows? But those things are going to bubble up in the top of your news feed. You're going to probably unfollow people you don't agree with. So you're curating your own environment, and you're creating your own cloud. I'm curious how much of Facebook's influence is in that world. On the things that you're curating. We know that they have been, they split test moods and sentiment over the years, and they kind of got some backlash for seeing that people were angrier during certain times because they were putting angry content and, shootings and things like that into their news feed to sort of test that. And that's the kind of stuff that I find troubling.
Check any post. I was going to say, just check any post. I fully agree with what you're saying, but it also doesn't work that way. Because if you go to a Hillary Clinton post right now, you're going to get she's a witch, she's heaven sent, and I don't know what's going on. And you're going to get that for each one of these candidates right now. So even though we're curating people out, you're still being force-fed certain things that people just jump on because they're angry or whatever. So there's still a really crazy mixture that Facebook is pushing in your face for what they validate as important content.
I think it's just really interesting that people claim usually bias and want for diversity when it doesn't include them. It's rarely that people are really thinking outside of the box and wanting to have different opinions and different thoughts and having different ideas. We feel really uncomfortable with other people and other discussions that are usually similar to our own. We don't really look at it heuristically that we want to see different feelings to that. So it's kind of interesting that people don't mind, to have news that is their type of news when they curate it. But then when they feel like they've now been omitted from that dialogue, now they're saying, you know what, it would be really nice to have diversity. But they weren't doing that for other groups of people, other ways of thought. And so that in and of itself is their own unconscious bias.
I just want to see my friends and family. I don't want to see everything else. Isn't Facebook supposed to be people I know sharing stuff they like? And
not when you're Leo Laporte and you max out your 5,000 count.
Oh, I don't. No, I don't. I only follow friends and family.
Oh, okay. Well, not when you're everybody else besides Leo Laporte and you max out your 5,000. You think that everybody's your friend, Billy Joe Josephine from third grade.
No, I have to know somebody in real life to follow him. Although I did like all the presidential candidates, both on the left and the right, including Gary Johnson, because I did want to get more of that in my feed, and that actually hasn't really worked. I'm still getting mostly puppies and kitties. And
you live a good Facebook
life.
Algorithm.
It's really it's unpredictable. I guess that's the best you could say. Hey, this has just opened a great topic of conversation, but we really are out of time, and I don't want to keep you guys past your bedtime. It is Game of Thrones night.
Oh, yeah. 25
I was already looking at the
35
clock.
minutes.
24 minutes. Yeah, 34
All you
minutes.
East Coasters. No spoilers, okay?
We are the best coasters. Philly love.
That's right.
Hey, I noticed Clayton the whole time wearing a Philadelphia Phillies
I was
jersey.
going to wear my Eagles jersey, but I didn't. I should have.
Got the Philly soul sound here. His hall to my oats.
All right, Oats. That's Clayton Morris from Fox and Friends. Great to have you, Clayton. ClaytonMorris.com would be the place to go to see all your stuff.
Yeah, that's a great place. ClaytonMorris.com, and link me up there. And anyone's interested in anything I'm doing, you can go there or download the new podcast too. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I love talking to people about investing and everything else. So thank you so much for having me. Always love doing it.
I'm steering my CFO, my financial manager, over there, Lisa, my wife. See if she can keep me from eating Alpo in about 10 years. We also are thrilled to have Georgia Dow. Everybody should check out everything Georgia does, both at imore.com and anxiety-videos.com. So nice to have you. And I don't care if your husband kicked you out of your studio. It was great having you here today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
And Rogers, of course, as soon as the show's over, starts to screw up your signal. This happened every time we talk to Amber as well. Like Skype. Oh no, you've been on Skype too long. Can't be doing any more Skype. Thank you, Georgia. And Owen, J.J. Stone, we call him Doctor. There he is with his Flyers shirt. He's the man. The Eagles, the Flyers, the Phillies. It doesn't matter. If it's got cheese steak on it, he loves it.
Can I talk to the people for 30 seconds?
Please,
Uncle Leo?
it's all yours.
Every once in a while, you guys get mad at me and think that I bring too much funny and levity to the stories. But I want you to remember that on this day, this great day, I held my composure. I brought up Gazelle to add reads. I kept the train afloat. Georgia had a wild dream and it intercepted Leo's mind. And then we had a Chewbacca and we had an alpha hunt through the woods. And none of it is my fault. I am here for you and the people. See, Clayton, you're over here doing it again. You think he the Chewbacca mom? People done lost their minds, but not me. I'm here for the serious tech news for you today. And Twit Nation, I love you. And I would tell you another Twits in the can, but that's Leo's job. So tell him, Uncle Leo. You tell him.
Thank you all for being here. Another Twit is in the can. Bye-bye, everybody.
Doing the Twit.